Underneath the blistering sun of Egypt's vast deserts lies a world of secrets. An ancient civilization so advanced, its echoes still resonate through time. For thousands of years, the stone monuments and cryptic tombs have stood silent, guarding mysteries that defy explanation. How did they build the Great Pyramid, one of the wonders of the ancient world, with such precision, using tools and technology we still can't fully comprehend? What happened to the vast treasures of Egypt's pharaohs, some vanishing without a trace? And why, after millennia of exploration, does the true meaning behind their hieroglyphs still elude us? These are the questions that have haunted archaeologists, historians, and adventurers alike. Questions with no easy answers, no clear path forward, just layers of intrigue, shrouded in time's endless grip. As the sand shifts, so too do our theories, always shifting, never settling. So, what if some of Egypt's greatest secrets still remain hidden, waiting to be uncovered? Sit back, relax, and let's explore 3 hours of unsolved mysteries from ancient Egypt. At the heart of Egypt's ancient mysteries lies an artifact of unmatched intrigue, the sarcophagus of Osiris. Unearthed centuries ago from the depths of an unknown tomb, this black granite relic is adorned with enigmatic hieroglyphs, symbols, and intricate carvings that trace the legend of Osiris, the god of the afterlife and resurrection. Today, the sarcophagus rests in a quiet corner of the British Museum, its once glorious sheen dulled by centuries of human hands and countless layers of dust. Yet, despite its humble appearance in the modern world, it carries with it an aura of power, an energy that seems to echo through time. The sarcophagus was discovered in 1887 near the Nile, in the shadow of the Egyptian temples of Abydos. This site, sacred to the followers of Osiris, is believed to be the final resting place of the god himself, and for that reason, it has long been regarded as a place of both reverence and mystery. But the tomb that housed this particular sarcophagus was unlike any other. Its entrance sealed by massive stone slabs, its location lost to history, and its discovery surrounded by an eerie series of events that would come to define the artifact's reputation. The first hints of something strange began with the excavation itself. Archaeologists noted that the site was plagued by a series of accidents, equipment failure, illness among the workers, and even unexplained deaths in the days following the uncovering of the sarcophagus. Such incidents were not uncommon in the rough terrain of ancient Egypt, where the climate could quickly turn hostile, but the frequency and severity of these occurrences seemed to defy reason. When the sarcophagus was first opened, the ancient air inside the tomb was described as suffocating, as if the very earth itself had sealed away a secret it wasn't ready to reveal. Inside, the body of Osiris, or what remained of it, was believed to have been placed with great care. Though the body was long gone, the thick black stone of the sarcophagus itself seemed to pulse with an otherworldly energy. The carvings on its surface, depicting Osiris in his regal form, surrounded by images of his judgment in the afterlife, were so finely wrought that they appeared almost alive. For some, it felt as if Osiris had never truly left this sacred place. The question, of course, was why? Why would a culture so devoted to the gods of the afterlife feel the need to seal away Osiris in such a manner? And why did this particular sarcophagus seem to be the focal point of such unusual events? The answer, perhaps, lies in the myth itself. Osiris, the god of resurrection, was tragically murdered by his brother Set, the god of chaos, and his body scattered. But through the power of his wife, Isis, Osiris was resurrected long enough to father a child, Horus, the god who would one day avenge his father's death. Osiris's rebirth and death became the central themes of Egyptian mythology, symbolizing both the cyclical nature of life and the mysterious powers of death itself. In many ways, the sarcophagus, more than just a tomb, was a vessel of this eternal cycle, a physical representation of a god who had transcended both life and death. The notion of the sarcophagus as a cursed object, however, didn't fully take root until after the object's transport to Europe. In 1912, shortly after it was moved to London, a series of high-profile deaths struck those who had been directly involved with the sarcophagus. A famed Egyptologist, a renowned archaeologist, and a museum curator, all of whom had handled or studied the sarcophagus in the years following its arrival, died under mysterious and often unexplained circumstances. While some were simply the result of illness or accident, others were far more difficult to explain. Could it be mere coincidence that so many prominent individuals connected to the artifact met untimely ends? Or did something else lurk within the sarcophagus, some dark energy that was waiting to be unleashed? Over the years, rumors have swirled that the sarcophagus of Osiris is cursed, with those who come too close to it falling victim to misfortune, disease, or even death. Others argue that this is simply a product of the superstitions surrounding ancient Egyptian artifacts, amplified by the tragedy surrounding the discovery of King Tutankhamun's tomb and its associated curse. Skeptics point to the fact that Egyptology as a discipline is fraught with mystery and intrigue, and the tragic deaths of individuals connected to the sarcophagus can be attributed to a natural series of events, rather than a supernatural cause. But what if the truth is somewhere in between? What if, buried within the layers of mythology, history, and coincidence, there exists a deeper mystery that has yet to be uncovered? After all, the ancient Egyptians were known to imbue their objects with powerful rituals and symbols, rivers of magic and protection that transcended mere religion and became a part of the very fabric of reality. Was the sarcophagus merely a vessel for the god Osiris? Or was it something more? Something that held within it the essence of life, death, and rebirth itself? Perhaps the curse is not one of mere misfortune, but a testament to the unresolved enigma that is Osiris. A god whose death was the starting point for a cycle that never truly ends. A cycle in which even the dead cannot escape their fate. As the sarcophagus remains locked away in the museum, a silent witness to history's unbroken march, the questions surrounding it persist. Will we ever truly understand the forces that lie behind it? Or will the sarcophagus of Osiris remain, like the god it represents, eternally suspended between life and death, its mystery forever beyond our grasp? For now, the sarcophagus continues to stand as a reminder of the unknown. And in that, perhaps, lies its greatest mystery of all. As the dust of Egypt's ancient sands shifts, uncovering long-forgotten tombs, some mysteries prove more elusive than others. The tomb known as KV-55, located in the Valley of the Kings, is one such enigma. Unlike many of its counterparts, this tomb was discovered in a rather unexpected state. Far from the grand burial chambers of pharaohs, it was, in essence, a hidden crypt. The walls were undecorated, and the items within were sparse. Yet, within this seemingly inconspicuous tomb lay a body that would ignite one of Egyptology's most contentious debates: the true identity of the mummy found within KV-55. The tomb itself was first unearthed in 1907 by the famed archaeologist Edward Ayrton. Inside, he found a solitary mummy lying in a simple wooden coffin. There were no inscriptions, no elaborate funerary items, and no treasure to indicate the identity of the individual who had been placed there. Yet, the remains themselves presented an unsettling puzzle. The mummy was partially embalmed, wrapped haphazardly, and its features showed signs of hastily performed rituals. But it wasn't just the state of the burial that drew attention. It was the age and physical characteristics of the body. Radiological examinations suggested that the person in KV-55 was a man in his late teens or early 20s, and his features were strikingly youthful. But it was the presence of a unique crown found within the tomb, alongside the body, that pointed archaeologists toward a more complex narrative. The crown, a piece of gold and lapis lazuli jewelry, was thought to have belonged to a pharaoh, someone of great power and prestige. The tomb's lack of an inscription only deepened the mystery, leaving scholars to wonder, who was this young man, and why was he buried so inconspicuously? The most prevailing theory for decades was that the mummy belonged to Akhenaten, the controversial pharaoh who famously introduced monotheism to Egypt. Akhenaten's reign had been marked by his radical reforms and his attempts to replace Egypt's traditional pantheon of gods with the worship of the Aten, the sun disk. His tomb, located far from the Valley of the Kings in Amarna, had been looted, and his remains had never been found. Could this be the missing pharaoh, hidden away in an unmarked grave, his identity deliberately obscured? But as further studies of the mummy progressed, new questions began to emerge. The facial features of the individual in KV-55 did not perfectly match the artistic depictions of Akhenaten. The skull showed signs of a pronounced deformity, a feature common to the royal family of the Amarna period. Yet the age of the body did not match the age Akhenaten would have been at the time of death. Could this be another member of the royal family, perhaps Akhenaten's son or his successor? DNA analysis performed on the remains in the early 2000s added another layer of complexity to the mystery. The results revealed that the mummy in KV-55 was closely related to both Tutankhamun and Akhenaten. In fact, the genetic connection between the young man and Tutankhamun was particularly strong. This led some to suggest that the body might belong to Smenkhkare, a pharaoh who briefly ruled after Akhenaten and was thought to be either a co-regent or successor. Smenkkare's identity has long been shrouded in uncertainty, with some historians proposing that he might have been Akhenaten's brother, or even his son, though his reign was short and little is known about him. But the story becomes even murkier when we consider the possibility that the mummy in KV-55 might not belong to a single ruler at all. Some researchers suggest that the body could be that of a young man who was simply a part of the royal family, a lesser-known prince, perhaps, whose life was cut short before he could take the throne. It's also been proposed that this could be a member of the Amarna family who was removed from the royal lineage after Akhenaten's fall from power. If this were the case, why would such a young, seemingly unimportant figure be buried in a tomb designed for someone of greater prominence? What complicates the mystery further is the possibility of a deliberate attempt to obscure the mummy's identity. Some believe that the tomb's sparse furnishings and the lack of royal iconography were intentional, suggesting that the person buried there was someone whose identity needed to be hidden. But why? Was this a political move to distance the pharaoh from his controversial predecessor, Akhenaten? Or could it be that the burial itself was a form of erasure, intended to sever the ties to a royal bloodline that had fallen out of favor? Despite the wealth of theories and evidence, no definitive conclusion has been reached. The identity of the mummy in KV-55 continues to elude Egyptologists. Was it Akhenaten himself, or perhaps his son, Smenkhkare, or another obscure royal figure? The sparse burial, the hasty embalming, and the symbolic crown seem to suggest that the identity of this individual was of great importance. But why remain hidden? Perhaps the most telling mystery of all is why this tomb, with its strangely muted burial, was left behind in the first place. In the sprawling valley that houses the tombs of Egypt's greatest rulers, this tomb stands out for its secrecy, its ambiguity, and its silence. Its unanswered questions linger, as do the countless others hidden beneath the sands of the ancient world. As the sun sets over the Valley of the Kings, the tomb of KV-55 remains, shrouded in the shadows of uncertainty. One thing is clear: the identity of the mummy within will forever remain an unsolved enigma, one that may never yield its secrets, no matter how many theories or tests are applied. What might we still be missing about the mysterious burial in KV-55? And perhaps, more hauntingly, what truths have yet to surface about Egypt's royal past? As we continue our journey through Egypt's ancient past, we turn to a legend steeped in mystery, one that ties together the grandeur of the Old Kingdom and the enigma of a queen lost to time. Queen Hetepheres, a name that has echoed through the corridors of Egyptology, remains a figure cloaked in shadows, her tomb one of the greatest unsolved riddles of the ancient world. Hetepheres was the mother of the famous Pharaoh Khufu, the ruler behind the construction of the Great Pyramid of Giza, and yet her legacy is surprisingly scarce. Historians and archaeologists have struggled to uncover the full story of her life, her reign, and her eventual resting place. Unlike many royal tombs that stand as monumental testaments to Egypt's great rulers, the location of Queen Hetepheres' final resting place remained elusive for centuries. Was she buried near her son in the Grand Pyramid complex, or was her tomb hidden away somewhere else, lost to the shifting sands of time? The search for Hetepheres' tomb began in earnest in the early 20th century, during the excavations of the Giza Plateau. While the tombs of pharaohs like Khufu, Khafra, and Menkore were relatively easy to locate, there was no sign of Hetepheres' final burial chamber. It wasn't until 1925 that an unexpected discovery would shed light on her final resting place, though it would only add to the intrigue rather than providing definitive answers. That year, the famed Egyptian archaeologist George Reisner, working under the auspices of Harvard University, uncovered a tomb in the vicinity of the Great Pyramid, a tomb that appeared to be from the 4th dynasty, the very same period in which Queen Hetepheres would have lived. This tomb, identified as belonging to a queen, contained an extraordinary array of artifacts, but it was the discovery of the sarcophagus that truly caught the attention of archaeologists. The tomb was not just any royal burial, it was a tomb fit for someone of immense importance, perhaps a queen of high rank, possibly even Hetepheres herself. However, when the sarcophagus was opened, the body inside was not that of the queen. Instead, the sarcophagus contained only the bones of a man, leading to immediate confusion. How could the body of a man have been placed in the tomb of a queen? Had the tomb been reused for a different royal burial? Or was this the result of an ancient mistake, an error in the identification of the tomb, or even a deliberate act of deception? No one could say for certain. The tomb itself, now catalogued as the tomb of Queen Hetepheres, contained treasures of unparalleled magnificence, including golden jewelry, elaborate furniture, and intricately designed objects meant to accompany her into the afterlife. Yet, the most striking aspect of the tomb was the treasure found inside the queen's burial chamber. A golden canopy, a large chest containing finely crafted items, and a ceremonial bed, objects that suggested the tomb's owner was someone of immense wealth and royal status. And yet, the queen's body, which should have been the focal point of the tomb, was never found. One theory proposed is that Hetepheres' body was moved from her original tomb, possibly to protect it from tomb robbers. It was not uncommon for royal remains to be relocated to more secure locations as the centuries passed. If this were the case, could it be that Hetepheres was buried elsewhere, perhaps in a hidden location beneath the sands of Giza, or even within the Great Pyramid itself? Yet, this idea leads to further questions. Why, then, were her lavish treasures left behind, unburied, and unaccompanied by her body? Could there have been a deliberate attempt to erase her legacy after her death, perhaps by a rival faction in the royal court? Or was Hetepheres' tomb never meant to be found? Perhaps the queen's final resting place was never completed, or her burial site was intentionally hidden away to avoid desecration. Another intriguing possibility lies in the idea of Hetepheres' tomb being a symbolic one, rather than a physical resting place. In ancient Egypt, tombs were seen not just as burial sites, but as places for the soul to continue its journey in the afterlife. Could it be that Hetepheres' tomb was designed more as an offering to the gods, a place to honor her spirit, while her physical body was taken to another location, perhaps never to be discovered? What makes the mystery even more compelling is the unique position of Queen Hetepheres herself. As the mother of Khufu, one of the most famous pharaohs in Egyptian history, she would have had significant political and religious influence. Did the omission of her body from her tomb have a deeper meaning, perhaps linked to the power struggles of her time? Was her burial somehow tied to the shifting dynamics of the royal family? It's also worth noting that, despite the lavish artifacts found within the tomb, no clear written inscriptions could definitively confirm the tomb's owner. Only the richness of the treasures and the proximity to Khufu's pyramid give a strong indication that it might have belonged to Hetepheres herself. But in the absence of clear evidence, we are left to wonder, what truths lie buried in this forgotten chamber? Despite the many theories, no one can definitively say where Queen Hetepheres is buried, or even whether she is buried at all. Perhaps her final resting place is still hidden somewhere beneath the vast desert, waiting to be uncovered. Or perhaps the real mystery lies in the reason why her tomb has never been found, a mystery that, like so many others in ancient Egypt, may remain forever shrouded in the sands of time. The treasures of Queen Hetepheres continue to captivate and puzzle archaeologists and historians, yet the identity of her tomb, the fate of her body, and the legacy she left behind remain elusive. What secrets might still lie hidden beneath the stones of Giza, waiting for a future explorer to uncover? The Valley of the Kings, tucked away in the shadow of Egypt's mighty pyramids, stands as one of the world's most iconic archaeological sites. For over 3,000 years, this desolate valley has quietly cradled the remains of Egypt's greatest rulers, pharaohs whose lives and legacies have been immortalized by monumental pyramids and lavish tombs. But beneath the parched desert sands, the Valley of the Kings holds many secrets yet to be uncovered. The question that lingers in the air, as thick as the dust itself, is, what truly lies hidden here? This narrow stretch of land, flanked by steep cliffs, is home to the tombs of more than 60 pharaohs and nobles, the final resting places for some of Egypt's most powerful rulers. Among these, the tomb of King Tutankhamun stands out as the most famous, with its discovery in 1922 by Howard Carter, sending shockwaves through the world. Yet, for all the riches, treasures, and royal remains that have been unearthed over the years, there is still so much we don't understand about the valley's enigmatic history. When Howard Carter first ventured into the tomb of Tutankhamun, he famously exclaimed, "I see wonderful things." The sheer opulence of the artifacts within, the golden mask, the jeweled chests, and the throne, was beyond belief. But what was perhaps more astonishing was the tomb itself, its relatively small size compared to other royal tombs, and its relatively modest position within the valley. Why would a pharaoh as significant as Tutankhamun be buried in such a small and inconspicuous tomb? And why had it remained untouched by grave robbers for thousands of years? Could it be that the tomb was hastily constructed? Or was it deliberately hidden, its contents and location kept secret for reasons we may never fully understand? Carter's discovery opened the door to new questions about the Valley of the Kings. While it was assumed that the pharaohs of the new kingdom were laid to rest in elaborate, well-guarded tombs, the absence of grave robbers' signs in Tutankhamun's tomb suggested that perhaps some tombs had been placed in locations that were overlooked, or intentionally concealed. Since Carter's time, archaeologists have continued to dig into the mysteries of the valley, uncovering more tombs, including those of Ramses VI, Seti I, and Thutmose III. But with each discovery, new questions arise. In 1995, another unexpected find in the valley left historians reeling. The tomb of a previously unknown pharaoh, KV5, was uncovered, revealing an enormous burial complex containing the remains of dozens of sons of Ramses II, the great builder king. This vast tomb, unlike anything previously discovered in the valley, contained more than 120 rooms, each brimming with artifacts, mummies, and ancient offerings. The sheer scale of this tomb was unprecedented, leading many to wonder why such a monumental resting place was constructed for the children of one of Egypt's most prolific pharaohs. But even with all the discoveries, the valley remains a place of intrigue, its depths still largely unexplored. The burial tombs we've found so far are only a fraction of what may still lie hidden. Despite the continuous excavations, many parts of the valley remain untouched, their secrets locked away beneath layers of stone, sand, and time. What could be lurking beneath the surface? Are there tombs still buried deep within the cliffs, left undisturbed by centuries of heat and erosion? One of the more tantalizing theories involves the possible existence of a secret tomb, perhaps one that belonged to a forgotten pharaoh or royal figure. In 2017, the discovery of an unusual anomaly detected by radar scans raised more questions than answers. Using cutting-edge technology, archaeologists discovered a hidden void within the tomb of Tutankhamun, and some speculate that it could be the entrance to a hidden chamber, or even another tomb entirely, possibly that of Nefertiti, Tutankhamun's stepmother, whose tomb has never been conclusively found. But even with modern technology, no direct evidence has emerged to confirm the presence of Nefertiti's burial site, leaving us to wonder, could she be buried in secret, just as the pharaohs of old may have intended? Perhaps even more intriguing is the question of the so-called royal mummies, discovered in the 1880s, buried in a tomb known as DB 320. This tomb, located in the nearby Valley of the Priests, contained the remains of several pharaohs, including some who had been long forgotten. Among them was a mysterious mummy, thought by some to belong to a foreign ruler, perhaps even an invader who had been placed among the pharaohs. This peculiar burial challenges everything we know about royal interment practices and raises further questions about the nature of Egypt's rulers and the politics of the time. But what if the answers we seek are not found in the physical discoveries at all? What if the true secrets of the Valley of the Kings are buried in the intangible mysteries surrounding the tombs? Could the very act of burial itself, the locations chosen, and the treasures left behind hold meaning beyond simple death rituals? Some scholars have proposed that the valley, with its seemingly perfect alignment and the strategic positioning of its tombs, may have been designed not only as a burial site, but as a cosmic gateway, linking the pharaohs to the gods. Could there be a hidden purpose to the valley's design that we have yet to understand? And what of the tombs that we have not found? The ones that lie buried beneath centuries of shifting sand, awaiting discovery? With new technology, drones and ground-penetrating radar revealing new possibilities for excavation. Some suggest that the most important tombs may still be hidden, their contents far more astonishing than anything we've yet unearthed. As we gaze upon the serene, unforgiving landscape of the Valley of the Kings, we are left with more questions than answers. How many tombs are still out there, waiting to be found? What forgotten pharaohs or buried secrets remain locked beneath the earth? The valley's timeless silence holds many riddles that continue to beckon explorers and scholars, urging them to dig deeper into its dark corners, knowing that the answers they seek may be closer than they think, or forever beyond their grasp. Nestled against the cliffs of western Thebes, the Temple of Deir el-Bahari stands as one of Egypt's most remarkable architectural achievements. Built by Queen Hatshepsut, one of the most powerful and enigmatic rulers of the New Kingdom, this grand temple is a masterpiece of design and engineering. Its soaring terraces, adorned with elegant colonnades, rise in a dramatic cascade, blending seamlessly with the desert landscape. Yet beneath its majestic exterior lies a hidden world of symbols and imagery, many of which have baffled archaeologists, historians, and scholars for over a century. The temple, constructed during the 15th century BCE, is dedicated to the sun god Amun-Ra, as well as to the deified memory of Hatshepsut herself. Its walls, lined with intricately carved reliefs, depict scenes of divine offerings, royal processions, and sacred rituals. Yet embedded within these seemingly straightforward depictions are strange and cryptic symbols, some of which seem to defy the conventional understanding of ancient Egyptian iconography. These mysterious markings have puzzled Egyptologists, leading to a host of theories about their true meaning and what they might reveal about the queen's reign and her relationship with the gods. One of the most striking of these symbols is the presence of unusual carvings found in the temple's second terrace. In one of the hallways, near the southernmost part of the structure, a series of enigmatic glyphs can be seen. These symbols, unlike any seen elsewhere in the temple, seem to merge with familiar hieroglyphs, but with subtle differences that make their interpretation elusive. Some scholars have speculated that these symbols represent a form of secret or sacred knowledge, perhaps a hidden message left behind by Hatshepsut herself. Could they have been intended to convey divine wisdom, meant only for the initiated, or might they represent a deeper cosmic truth that has yet to be deciphered? In addition to these enigmatic symbols, the temple's carvings often depict Hatshepsut in the guise of a male pharaoh. While this has long been understood as a political and religious move, ensuring her legitimacy as ruler in a male-dominated society, the symbolic implications of this representation are more layered than they might initially appear. One of the most striking images is of the queen's coronation, which is accompanied by a set of symbols that appear to link her directly to the gods. Among these is the image of a serpent entwined around a scepter, a symbol often associated with the goddess Wadjet, the protector of Lower Egypt. But what is especially curious is the serpent's positioning. It seems to be guarding the queen, as though offering her divine protection. Why this particular imagery? And why was it so important to incorporate it into the temple's decorations? Some have speculated that these serpentine symbols and the cryptic nature of the reliefs themselves are connected to a more obscure, esoteric tradition within Egyptian religious thought. In ancient Egypt, serpents were not merely symbols of danger, they were also potent emblems of transformation, renewal, and rebirth. Could it be that these symbols were meant to convey Hatshepsut's own transformation? Her journey from a mortal ruler to one of the gods? Was she, in some sense, positioning herself as a bridge between the human and divine worlds, mediating between the two in a way that defied conventional kingship? The idea that Hatshepsut's temple might hold clues to her secretive and possibly subversive nature is further supported by the enigmatic presence of certain symbols connected to her famous expedition to Punt. Reliefs from the temple's walls depict the voyage, with images of ships, strange flora, and exotic animals. Yet, hidden among these depictions are curious symbols that some believe may represent a form of writing or language that has yet to be understood. Why were these symbols included? What message might they be conveying about Hatshepsut's journey, and what secrets did it hold? The temple of Deir el-Bahari, while a testament to Hatshepsut's grandeur, also reflects the mystery surrounding her reign. Why, for example, was she so keen to emphasize her divine association with the gods? And why were these cryptic symbols, many of which appear to have no clear historical precedent, carved into her most sacred monument? Were they meant to ensure her immortality, to preserve her legacy as more than just a ruler, but as a goddess in her own right? Despite centuries of research and study, these questions remain unanswered. The cryptic symbols found in Deir el-Bahari continue to resist interpretation, their meaning just out of reach. Some scholars suggest that these symbols might have been intentionally obscured, hidden by Hatshepsut herself as a way of preserving a deeper, more personal connection with the divine, one that she did not wish to share with the world. Others believe that the symbols could be part of a lost tradition or a forgotten religious practice, one that was eclipsed by the passage of time and the subsequent reign of more famous pharaohs like Thutmose III. In the end, the Temple of Deir el-Bahari serves as a reminder of the complexities and mysteries that still lie hidden in the heart of ancient Egypt. The cryptic symbols etched into its walls are but a glimpse into a world that is both familiar and strange. A world where the boundaries between the human and the divine were often blurred, and where hidden messages may still await discovery. What exactly did Hatshepsut intend to convey with these symbols? Were they merely decorative, or do they represent something deeper? Something that remains locked away in the sands of time, waiting for the right eyes to unlock their secrets. As we continue to unravel the layers of Egypt's ancient past, the mystery of the symbols in Deir el-Bahari invites us to reflect on the many hidden truths that may still be concealed beneath the surface. Stretching across the horizon in Luxor, the Karnak temple complex rises from the desert like a forgotten city, its massive pylons and towering obelisks casting long shadows over the arid landscape. It is the largest religious structure ever built, a testament to the power, devotion, and ambition of Egypt's pharaohs. Dedicated primarily to the god Amun-Ra, the temple has been under construction for over 2 millennia, with successive pharaohs contributing to its grandeur. The sheer scale of the site, with its labyrinthine halls, colossal statues, and vast open courtyards, speaks to the devotion of a civilization obsessed with the divine. But beneath its monumental surface, Karnak holds secrets that have puzzled archaeologists for centuries, with many of its mysteries remaining unsolved. As visitors wander through the imposing hypostyle hall, where 134 giant columns stretch to the sky, it's hard not to be awed by the grandeur of the space. The walls are covered with intricate reliefs, stories of kings, gods, and battles that tell 1,000 tales of Egypt's power and divine favor. Yet amid this apparent clarity, some of the inscriptions in Karnak have led to more questions than answers. What exactly were these gods and kings trying to communicate through these ancient carvings? Was there a hidden meaning embedded within the symbolism, one that has yet to be deciphered? One of the most intriguing aspects of Karnak is its alignment. Like many of Egypt's most sacred sites, the temples at Karnak are precisely aligned with the stars, the sun, and the cardinal directions. The sanctuary of Amun-Ra itself is oriented towards the rising sun on the winter solstice, marking a profound connection between the earth and the heavens. While such celestial alignments were common in ancient Egypt, the precision with which the architects of Karnak carried out their designs raises a question. Were they simply following established traditions, or was there something deeper at play? Could the temple have been a sort of cosmic instrument, a device designed to connect the human world with the divine through the manipulation of celestial forces? Equally mysterious are the numerous chambers, hallways, and subterranean passages scattered throughout the complex. Many of these areas remain sealed or were buried under layers of rubble for centuries. What might they contain? Some researchers speculate that these hidden rooms could be repositories of ancient knowledge, scrolls, artifacts, or even sacred texts that might explain more about Egypt's advanced understanding of astronomy, mathematics, and engineering. Others suggest that these cryptic spaces might have been part of secretive rituals designed to protect the most sacred knowledge from outsiders. Perhaps one of the most enduring mysteries of the Karnak temples involves the so-called first pylon, the massive gateway that marks the entrance to the inner sanctum. On the surface, this towering structure appears to be a simple monumental gateway, typical of Egyptian temple design. But some scholars have pointed out that its layout and inscriptions may encode something far more complex. In recent years, modern scanning technology has allowed archaeologists to explore areas beneath the surface of ancient structures. This has led to the discovery of hidden chambers and previously unknown features. Could the first pylon hold a secret that has yet to be revealed? Is there a deeper, hidden significance in its design, a purpose or meaning that ancient architects intended only for those with the knowledge to decipher it? In the Temple of Amun-Ra, one of the most spectacular features is the Sacred Lake, a vast artificial pool that reflects the temple's imposing columns and is said to have been used for ritual purification. Some have speculated that this lake, like other sacred bodies of water in ancient Egypt, could have symbolized the primeval waters of creation, the place from which life emerged in the Egyptian cosmogony. Yet there are other, more speculative theories surrounding the lake. Some suggest that it might have had a practical purpose far beyond ritual. It could have been a kind of energy conductor, perhaps designed to channel spiritual or cosmic forces during specific celestial alignments. Could it have been used in a way we haven't yet understood, a sacred site where energy was harnessed for religious or even scientific purposes? Such ideas remain tantalizing but elusive. Among the more obscure aspects of the Karnak complex are the inscriptions dedicated to the so-called Heretic, Pharaoh Akhenaten, whose radical religious reforms established the worship of Aten as the sole god of Egypt. Akhenaten's reign was short-lived, and his temple was largely destroyed or abandoned after his death. However, within the temple complex at Karnak, fragments of inscriptions from his reign have been uncovered, carvings that suggest he once had a prominent role within the temple. What is especially curious is the fact that these inscriptions do not fully match the conventional iconography associated with the god Amun-Ra. Was Akhenaten's vision of the Aten meant to be integrated into the long-established traditions of Karnak? Or were these subtle references to his worship meant to preserve a hidden legacy, one that would be quietly erased in the years to come? Perhaps most perplexing of all is the idea that the Karnak temples may have been far more than a religious site or a royal monument. Some fringe theories suggest that the site might have had a more mystical or metaphysical purpose, perhaps serving as a kind of energy nexus or a temple of universal knowledge. This idea, while speculative, is fueled by the sheer scale and precision of the temple's construction. Could the ancient Egyptians have been aware of forces beyond the material world, using the temple as a place to tap into these energies? Some claim that the large, precise stone blocks used in the temple's construction could have been part of a larger architectural design intended to resonate with certain frequencies. Could Karnak have been more than just a place of worship? It might have been a place of knowledge and power, waiting to be rediscovered by a future civilization. As we stand within the ruins of Karnak, with its soaring pylons and enigmatic reliefs, we are reminded of how little we truly know about the full scope of this ancient site. The temples, while they stand as monuments to Egypt's gods and rulers, may also hold clues to a much deeper mystery, one that blends the realms of the divine, the celestial, and perhaps even the metaphysical. What secrets lie hidden beneath the surface of Karnak's monumental walls? Could the answers to Egypt's most profound mysteries still be buried within the labyrinthine passages of this ancient site, waiting for the right minds to unlock them? As time marches forward, the Karnak temples continue to hold their secrets tightly, challenging us to look beyond the surface and discover what lies beneath. In the scorching desert of southern Egypt, not far from the Sudanese border, the colossal rock-cut temples of Abu Simbel stand as silent sentinels to an ancient past. These monumental structures, carved into the cliffs of the Nubian desert, were built by the powerful pharaoh Ramses II during the 13th century BCE. They are a testament to his military victories, his divine right to rule, and his enduring legacy. Yet, amid the imposing statues and majestic reliefs, there are subtle carvings, strange cryptic symbols, that have long intrigued archaeologists, historians, and even casual visitors alike. Are these markings simply decorative? Or might they be messages from the past, encoded communications waiting to be deciphered? The most striking feature of Abu Simbel is, of course, the grand facade. 4 massive statues of Ramses II, each towering over 65 feet in height, sit in eternal repose, guarding the entrance to the temple. These figures, though awe-inspiring in their scale, are merely the surface of a much deeper mystery. Inside the temple, the walls are adorned with intricate reliefs depicting scenes from Ramses's military campaigns, particularly his famous battle at Kadesh. These images are more than just historical records. They are, in a sense, propaganda, meant to immortalize the pharaoh's prowess and divine favor. But it's not just the grand battle scenes that spark curiosity. Throughout the temple, there are smaller carvings, some that appear out of place, both in their style and content. Among these is a set of unusual symbols found in the inner sanctum of the temple, behind the statues of Ramses and the gods. These carvings, which seem disconnected from the overall narrative of the temple's reliefs, are enigmatic. Some resemble hieroglyphs, but with subtle differences in their form, while others appear to be entirely abstract. What is their meaning? Some scholars have suggested that they could be related to royal iconography, perhaps symbols of Ramses II's divine connection or his mastery over the forces of nature. After all, Ramses portrayed himself as a living god, and these carvings might have been intended to enhance his connection to the divine. But there are those who wonder if these markings serve a different purpose altogether, one that transcends mere religious or political symbolism. One of the more speculative theories revolves around the idea that these symbols might be messages encoded in a language we have yet to understand. Could they be warnings, prophecies, or even an encrypted map to hidden knowledge? The idea that the ancient Egyptians may have embedded secret messages into their most sacred sites is not new. There are those who argue that the Egyptians, with their advanced understanding of astronomy and mathematics, might have left behind clues that point to greater truths that have eluded us for millennia. Perhaps even more tantalizing is the possibility that these carvings may have been designed not just for the living, but for the gods themselves. Ancient Egyptian temples were not simply places of worship. They were believed to be the very homes of the gods on earth. Could these carvings be part of a ritual or communication meant to reach the divine? Some have posited that these symbols were intended to bridge the gap between the human and the divine realms, acting as a form of cosmic language that could connect the mortal world with the gods. In addition to these mysterious carvings, there is also the question of their unusual placement within the temple. Most of the prominent reliefs in Abu Simbel are aligned with Ramses's military triumphs, his divine protection, and his role as ruler. Yet, these cryptic symbols are found in the inner sanctum of the temple, a space reserved for the most sacred of rituals and offerings. Why were they placed here, in a location that only the high priests and pharaohs would enter? Could these symbols have been reserved for a select few, perhaps as part of a secretive initiation into deeper mysteries? Further fueling this theory is the temple's remarkable astronomical alignment. Twice a year, on the 21st of February and the 21st of October, the sun penetrates deep into the heart of the temple, illuminating the statues of Ramses II and the gods seated beside him. This solar phenomenon, known as the Sun Festival, is a testament to the Egyptians' advanced understanding of the stars and celestial cycles. The fact that the sun can reach such a precise spot inside the temple raises an intriguing question. Were these mysterious symbols aligned with the solar event in some way? Could they have been part of a larger celestial design, one that linked Ramses to the sun gods in a more direct and personal way? There are also theories that suggest the carvings could have been influenced by an even older tradition, one that predated Ramses II's reign. Some believe that Abu Simbel, in its vast complexity, might have been built upon an older sacred site, one that was repurposed by Ramses for his own glorification. Could these symbols, then, be remnants of an earlier, forgotten civilization or belief system? Egypt's ancient history is long and complex, and it is not beyond the realm of possibility that Ramses, in his desire to align himself with divine forces, appropriated symbols from older, perhaps even lost, traditions. What is perhaps most striking about these enigmatic carvings is that, after centuries of study, they continue to elude a definitive explanation. They sit silently within the walls of Abu Simbel, offering no answers, only more questions. Are they simply the product of a particular artistic style, or the idiosyncratic vision of Ramses II's craftsmen? Or do they represent something more profound, an encoded message that is only waiting for the right key to unlock its meaning? The ancient Egyptians left behind a vast treasure trove of knowledge and symbolism, some of which we have deciphered, while much remains a mystery. The carvings at Abu Simbel may be a part of that puzzle, pieces waiting to be connected to a greater understanding of the Egyptian worldview, their spiritual practices, and their connection to the cosmos. What could these symbols tell us about the ancient Egyptians' understanding of the divine, the stars, and the forces that shaped their world? And, perhaps more importantly, what secrets might still be waiting to be uncovered beneath the sands of time? As we continue to explore the mysteries of Egypt, the question remains: how much of what was left behind by the ancient Egyptians is still beyond our grasp? What might the cryptic carvings at Abu Simbel reveal if we can only unlock their hidden messages? In the quiet, dimly lit corners of museum archives and forgotten tombs, a collection of ancient manuscripts known as the Hieratic scrolls beckons, their delicate papyrus surfaces inscribed with a script that has long been the subject of both admiration and intrigue. These scrolls, though far less famous than the monumental inscriptions of the pyramids or the grand temples of Karnak, offer a tantalizing glimpse into the more private, mysterious world of ancient Egyptian thought, a world filled with rituals, mystical knowledge, and perhaps even forbidden secrets. Unlike the more widely known hieroglyphic script, the hieratic script is a cursive form of writing, used primarily by priests and scribes in Egypt for everyday record-keeping and religious texts. It is less ornate but no less profound, and the scrolls that contain these symbols hold within them a library of knowledge that may have been hidden from the masses and sealed away in the recesses of temples and tombs for reasons we may never fully understand. The hieratic scrolls are primarily associated with religious and magical texts, often written by high priests or scholars who understood the deeper spiritual practices of Egypt. Many of these scrolls contain detailed descriptions of rituals, prayers, and spells intended to guide the soul through the afterlife or to invoke divine favor. They are a testament to the profound spiritual system that governed every aspect of life in ancient Egypt. Yet, within these rituals, there are elements that have never been fully explained. Some scrolls appear to detail procedures for rituals that were so secretive that they were only performed by the highest-ranking individuals in Egyptian society, perhaps even the pharaohs themselves. One of the most compelling aspects of the hieratic scrolls is their connection to the so-called forbidden knowledge of the ancient world. These are texts that seem to go beyond mere religious observance, offering glimpses into the esoteric and occult practices that may have been deliberately concealed from the common people. Ancient Egyptian religion was deeply intertwined with notions of magic and hidden power, and the scrolls are thought to be a record of these practices, carefully preserved by the priesthood to prevent them from falling into the wrong hands. But what exactly were they trying to protect, and why were these teachings so secret? The Book of the Dead, perhaps the most famous of ancient Egyptian religious texts, is one such document that has survived through the millennia. While not exclusively a hieratic text, it forms a part of the broader spiritual tradition contained within the scrolls. The Book of the Dead outlines the journey of the soul through the afterlife, filled with incantations and instructions for the deceased to follow in order to avoid the dangers of the underworld and reach the realm of Osiris, the god of the dead. Yet the scrolls also contain references to entities, gods, and realms that are not commonly discussed in more public or canonical religious texts. These references, some of which seem almost alien in nature, suggest a far more complex and layered understanding of the cosmos than the more straightforward tales of divine rule and order. One of the more mysterious elements of the hieratic scrolls involves a group of texts that reference hidden realms and lost gods, beings and dimensions that were never meant to be seen by the living. Some scholars have speculated that these references point to an entirely different understanding of the afterlife, one that extends beyond the conventional notions of paradise and judgment. Instead, these texts hint at darker, unknown forces at work in the spiritual realm. Could these references be symbolic representations of internal human struggles, or do they describe real entities that ancient Egyptians believed could influence the living world? Were these gods and beings part of an ancient, forgotten pantheon, worshipped in secret by the high priests and those in the inner circles of power? There is also the Tale of the Two Brothers, a hieratic manuscript that tells the story of a tragic conflict between two siblings, complete with themes of betrayal, magic, and transformation. While on the surface this may seem like an ordinary myth, scholars have noted that the magical elements in the story, particularly the references to transformations and divine interventions, are eerily similar to practices described in other, more arcane texts. The scroll describes rituals that seem to bend the natural world to the will of the initiates. Was there a belief that these sacred rites could actually alter the fabric of reality, or were they symbolic? Then there are the Book of the Heavens scrolls, which describe in painstaking detail the stars and their movement across the night sky. Unlike other astronomical texts, these manuscripts go far beyond basic observation. They contain coded references to celestial bodies and cosmic events that seem to imply an advanced understanding of the universe. Could the Egyptians have known more about the cosmos than we give them credit for? Were these scrolls a way for the priests to track not only the stars, but the forces of the universe that governed life and death, light and dark? As with much of ancient Egyptian history, the hieratic scrolls leave more questions than answers. Many of these scrolls have been lost to time, destroyed by tomb robbers, fires, or natural decay. What remains of them is often fragmented, only partially understood. Some texts have been translated, but their deeper meanings are still up for debate. Was there a hidden key to understanding these texts, a lost code that would unlock their true significance? And then there are the fringe theories, the suggestions that some of these texts contain knowledge not meant for our world, knowledge that could disrupt the very fabric of our reality. Could they have described a form of ancient science so advanced that it seems almost magical? Could the rituals in these scrolls have been designed to channel energy, manipulate matter, or even transcend the physical world? If so, why were they hidden away, guarded by the priesthood and the ruling class? What did they know that we don't? The hieratic scrolls, with their enigmatic symbols and cryptic messages, continue to stand as a reminder of the complexity and depth of ancient Egyptian thought. While much of their wisdom has been lost, their shadow still lingers, beckoning those who seek to understand not just what the Egyptians knew, but what they perhaps chose to keep hidden. As we turn the pages of these ancient scrolls, pages that are only partially legible, what might we still be missing? What remains buried within the secrets of these mystical manuscripts, waiting to be uncovered? The mystery persists, inviting us to question what lies beneath the surface of Egypt's sacred knowledge. What could the ancient Egyptians have known about the universe, and what were they trying to keep hidden from the world? Deep within the shadow of the Great Pyramid of Giza lies one of ancient Egypt's most puzzling mysteries, the disappearance of the sunboat of Khufu. It is a story entwined with both discovery and loss, a tale that straddles the fine line between what we know and what we have yet to uncover. At first glance, this story is one of remarkable archaeological achievement. In 1954, a nearly intact boat was unearthed at the foot of the Great Pyramid, sparking excitement across the world. However, the true mystery lies not in its discovery, but in the questions it raises. Questions that remain unanswered despite decades of research. The sunboat, as it is often called, was believed to be the personal vessel of Pharaoh Khufu, the ruler responsible for commissioning the Great Pyramid itself. The boat, measuring 143 feet in length, was constructed with extraordinary precision and craftsmanship, even by the standards of modern boat-making. The discovery, made inside a pit near the pyramid, suggested that it was meant to accompany Khufu in his journey to the afterlife, a symbolic journey that would see him traverse the sky, navigating the realms of the gods. The boat's significance was clear. Like many pharaohs before him, Khufu would need a boat to journey across the heavens, a key part of his passage into eternity. Yet, while the discovery of the sunboat in 1954 was groundbreaking, there is a shadow that lingers over this seemingly straightforward narrative. The question of where the boat was for the 4,500 years between its burial and its rediscovery. The boat, which was meticulously disassembled and buried in a pit beside the pyramid, was made of high-quality cedar wood, sourced from the distant lands of Lebanon. The construction of such a vessel was an immense undertaking, one that would have required significant resources, skilled labor, and time. It was an object of immense value, both materially and spiritually. Why then, after Khufu's death, was the boat buried with such care, only to be abandoned, almost as if it had been forgotten? What's even more mysterious is the boat's apparent disappearance from history. The ancient Egyptians were a people who believed deeply in the afterlife and took extensive measures to ensure their passage into eternity. Yet, as the centuries passed and Egypt entered periods of turmoil and foreign occupation, there was no mention of the sunboat. Was it lost? Destroyed? Or perhaps hidden for reasons we may never fully comprehend? The boat's rediscovery in the mid-20th century shed light on some of these questions, but it also raised new ones. When archaeologist Zahi Hawass and his team uncovered the boat's remains, they found that it had been carefully disassembled and placed in a pit near the Great Pyramid. There were no written records or inscriptions to explain its purpose, its intended use, or how it came to be buried. What could have led the ancient Egyptians to take such an extraordinary step of preserving the boat in this way? Was it merely a symbolic offering, or could it have had a deeper, more complex significance? Some have speculated that the boat might have been a ritual object, a means by which Khufu's spirit would travel to the heavens. But the mystery lies in the fact that there are no records suggesting the boat's continued use after Khufu's reign. If the boat was indeed central to the king's afterlife journey, why was it hidden away, unused for centuries? Another theory posits that the sunboat could have served as a form of protection. Some have suggested that, after Khufu's death, the boat was buried to keep it out of the hands of tomb robbers, or to preserve its sanctity. Yet, if the boat was so important to the king's journey, Why was it hidden in such a manner? It's possible that the burial of the boat, so close to the pyramid but seemingly outside of the tomb itself, was an act of preserving its sacredness, but also preventing it from being desecrated or misused. There are also more speculative theories surrounding the boat's purpose. Could the sun boat have had magical properties, perhaps a ritualistic role beyond the physical realm? Some researchers point to the role of boats in Egyptian mythology, where they were often seen as vessels for the gods to traverse the skies, carrying them through the night as they sailed toward the dawn. Was Khufu's boat meant to serve as a divine vessel, connecting him to the gods and the cosmos in ways we can't yet fully understand? And if so, why would such a sacred object be buried, then almost forgotten by history? For all the excitement surrounding the boat's recovery, the missing chapters of its story still haunt modern researchers. In particular, the lack of definitive records about its fate raises unsettling questions. Despite being one of the most significant discoveries in Egyptian archaeology, there is still no clear explanation of how or why the boat came to be abandoned, only to be rediscovered more than 4,000 years later. Was it left behind intentionally, or was it lost due to events that were simply not documented? Adding to the intrigue is the sheer complexity of the boat's construction. Modern archaeologists and engineers have marveled at the precision with which the boat was crafted. The boat's disassembled parts fit together almost seamlessly, suggesting a level of craftsmanship that might be surprising given the ancient tools at the disposal of Khufu's artisans. Some have even wondered if the boat was designed to withstand the ravages of time, constructed in such a way that it would one day be rediscovered, its mysteries waiting to be unveiled. But what if the sun boat of Khufu is only part of a much larger, hidden narrative? There are those who propose that the boat's disappearance may not have been accidental at all. Could it have been deliberately concealed by later rulers or priesthoods who feared its powers or the knowledge it represented? Could there be other objects, equally mysterious, buried in the sands of Giza, waiting to be found? As we stand before the Great Pyramid today, looking out over the desert where the sun boat was rediscovered, the question remains: what did the ancient Egyptians know about life, death, and the cosmos that we have yet to uncover? The sun boat may have been designed to carry Khufu's soul into the afterlife, but what about the secrets it carries with it? Secrets that have remained hidden for millennia. Is it possible that the story of Khufu's boat is still unfolding? Or could it be that, like so many mysteries of ancient Egypt, its true significance will forever be lost to time? Beneath the relentless desert sun, where the sands stretch out like an endless sea, there lies a mystery that has eluded both archaeologists and historians for centuries: the lost tomb of a forgotten queen. For all the grandeur and power of Egypt's pharaohs, some of its most important figures remain cloaked in shadow, their stories untold, their tombs still hidden beneath the shifting sands. Queen Nefertiti, one of Egypt's most famous and enigmatic queens, is known to have been the wife of the pharaoh Akhenaten, but she is not the queen we speak of today. There exists another, lesser-known figure, her name whispered among the tombs of Egypt's ancient rulers, a queen whose very existence is now the subject of heated debate. Her tomb, lost to time, is rumored to have been one of the most exquisite and sacred burial sites ever created. Yet, after thousands of years of searching, it remains elusive. The quest for this queen's resting place takes us deep into the heart of the Valley of the Kings, the final resting place of Egypt's elite. This arid and silent valley, surrounded by jagged cliffs, was carefully selected as a place of eternal repose for pharaohs and nobility. It is here, amidst the tombs of the mighty, that the lost tomb of this forgotten queen may yet lie, its location hidden, its secrets carefully guarded by time and the desert itself. Historical records mention the queen in passing, though scant evidence remains of her reign. There are references to her name in the dusty scrolls of ancient scribes, but little more than fragments of her life have survived. She was perhaps the wife of an unknown pharaoh, or even a ruler in her own right, holding power in an age when female sovereignty was rare. And yet, despite the passing centuries, the allure of her tomb remains, its treasures, its symbolism, and its connection to Egypt's mystical past still drawing the attention of explorers, archaeologists, and scholars alike. In the early 20th century, famed Egyptologist Howard Carter, fresh off his success with the discovery of Tutankhamun's tomb, set his sights on finding the final resting place of another forgotten ruler. It is said that Carter believed that this lost queen's tomb might be hidden in the Valley of the Queens, not far from the well-known tombs of pharaohs and consorts. What he found, however, was not the queen's tomb, but rather a multitude of incomplete clues, leading some to question whether the tomb had ever existed at all. Despite the passing of time, evidence for this elusive tomb keeps emerging in strange and unexpected places. Some have suggested that the tomb of this queen may lie buried beneath the tomb of another prominent pharaoh, hidden in plain sight. After all, many of Egypt's tombs were constructed in layers, with subsequent rulers often repurposing older structures to suit their needs. Was this queen's burial site repurposed, or was it simply forgotten? There is, of course, the intriguing possibility that this queen's tomb was deliberately concealed. Perhaps, after her death, there was a desire to hide her legacy for reasons unknown. Some suggest that the queen's rule may have been overshadowed by more famous figures like Cleopatra or Nefertiti, leading to her erasure from history, a fate that befell many lesser-known rulers. Could her tomb have been hidden as part of a political maneuver, a deliberate attempt to erase her influence from the annals of time? In the 21st century, the discovery of unexplored chambers and hidden passages beneath existing tombs has reignited interest in the search for this forgotten queen. Advances in ground-penetrating radar and laser scanning technology have allowed archaeologists to look beneath the surface of the Valley of the Kings and its surrounding areas in ways that were once impossible. In recent years, scientists have pointed to undiscovered chambers beneath the famous tomb of Ramesses VI, suggesting that they might contain the resting place of a queen whose name was intentionally erased from Egypt's royal list. Moreover, whispers of a hidden burial chamber within tomb KV55, a tomb which holds one of the greatest mysteries of ancient Egyptian history, have only fueled the speculation surrounding the lost queen. Was there a connection between this tomb and the forgotten queen? Was KV55 once a tomb for a woman whose legacy was too powerful or too dangerous to be allowed to survive? Or was the queen's final resting place hidden in an entirely different part of Egypt, perhaps somewhere near the sacred city of Thebes, where many royal women were buried in secret? As of today, there is no definitive evidence that the tomb of the forgotten queen exists at all. Scholars continue to speculate, but the answers remain as elusive as the sands themselves. The tomb could be buried beneath layers of rock and earth, yet to be discovered. Or perhaps it was plundered long ago, its contents lost forever to history. Despite the wealth of technology at our disposal, the tomb's secret remains carefully sealed away from the modern world. Yet the question still lingers. If this queen was truly lost to history, then why do we continue searching for her tomb? What, if anything, would we find if we were to uncover the tomb of this forgotten queen? Would we discover treasures that rival those of Tutankhamun? Or would we instead find a crypt untouched by time, with answers that challenge what we thought we knew about ancient Egypt's royal family? The mystery of the lost tomb of the forgotten queen is a testament to the ways in which history can be erased, buried, and forgotten. But it also reveals the depths of our collective curiosity, the way we continue to search for answers, even when those answers seem just beyond our reach. What if the tomb is still out there, waiting to be found? What if it holds not only the riches of a queen long forgotten, but also a deeper secret, one that could change our understanding of Egypt's ancient past forever? In the end, the tomb remains hidden, perhaps forever, its story only half told. The lost tomb of this forgotten queen may hold its secrets tightly, just as the sands of Egypt have held the answers to so many of its mysteries for millennia. But one thing is certain: as long as the mystery persists, the search will continue. And perhaps in time, the tomb will be found, waiting to reveal its story to those brave enough to uncover it. In the shadow of Egypt's monumental pyramids and temples, where the whispers of the past seem to echo against the desert winds, a curious connection emerges. A theory that has intrigued researchers, fringe scholars, and curious minds alike. For centuries, the story of the Anunnaki, the mysterious deities from ancient Mesopotamian lore, has been intertwined with the mysteries of Egypt. But is there more to this connection than mere speculation? Could these ancient beings, who allegedly came from the stars, have played a role in shaping the civilization that created the Great Pyramids? Let's step back for a moment. The Anunnaki are first mentioned in the texts of the Sumerians, the early inhabitants of Mesopotamia, often described as gods who descended from the heavens. In these ancient accounts, they are credited with shaping human civilization, imparting knowledge of writing, agriculture, and advanced technologies. But what if these gods were not confined to Mesopotamian soil? What if their influence extended across the ancient world, finding its way to Egypt? In the heart of Egypt, amidst the golden sand dunes, lies a legacy of gods and myths that are both astonishingly unique and eerily familiar to those in Mesopotamian tales. Egyptian mythology, like that of Sumer, speaks of deities descending from the skies, beings of immense power and wisdom, often portrayed as both divine and human. The Egyptian gods, Ra, Osiris, Horus, and others, were intimately tied to the heavens, with many associated with celestial bodies such as the sun and the stars. The parallels between the two pantheons are striking, and for some, it suggests a connection between the Anunnaki and the Egyptian gods, a link that remains to be fully understood. Consider the symbolism of the pyramid, arguably Egypt's most iconic structure. These awe-inspiring monuments are often said to represent the stairway to the heavens, an ascent to the gods. Could this not be a mere symbolic design? Could the pyramids have been constructed in alignment with celestial bodies in a manner that mirrors the advanced astronomical knowledge attributed to the Anunnaki? Some theorists suggest that the alignment of the Great Pyramid, with its precise positioning to the stars, reflects a knowledge of astronomy far beyond what was believed possible for ancient Egyptians. The Great Pyramid of Giza itself, touted as one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world, offers an intriguing mystery of its own. Some researchers have proposed that the builders of the pyramid had access to technologies and knowledge that were centuries ahead of their time, knowledge that might have been shared by visitors from the heavens, beings who were not merely mythological, but perhaps actual extraterrestrials. It's here that the Anunnaki theory begins to gain traction. Could the ancient Egyptians have learned this advanced knowledge from such beings, possibly leading to the creation of the pyramid itself? In Egyptian texts, there are references to gods who descended from the sky and imparted knowledge to humans. The god Thoth, for example, was often depicted as a figure of wisdom and learning, credited with bringing writing and sciences to the people of Egypt. His association with the moon and stars raises questions about the possible cosmic origin of such knowledge. Could Thoth, like the Anunnaki in Mesopotamian lore, have been a celestial visitor? What role did he play in the development of Egypt's sophisticated understanding of mathematics, astronomy, and architecture? Furthermore, the Egyptian god Osiris, whose myth revolves around death, resurrection, and cosmic balance, is often considered a bridge between the earthly realm and the stars. His connection to the afterlife and his association with the constellation Orion seems to mirror the Anunnaki's apparent fixation with star systems. The Anunnaki are often said to have hailed from the planet Nibiru, a world that allegedly orbits the star Sirius. Strikingly, the ancient Egyptians also held Sirius in great reverence, aligning many of their rituals and agricultural cycles with the star's rise. Could this shared reverence for Sirius indicate a deeper cosmic link between these ancient civilizations? But it's not only through gods and stars that the potential Anunnaki connection can be found. Some fringe theorists have pointed to artifacts and ruins that seem to suggest knowledge of advanced technology that the Egyptians could not have possibly developed on their own. The Abydos temple in Egypt, for example, contains carvings that some believe resemble modern machines, helicopters, submarines, and even spacecraft. Could these symbols be a remnant of a time when ancient Egyptians were in contact with beings from the stars? Or are they simply the result of later misinterpretation, ancient symbols that have been misread or exaggerated over time? Then there is the famous Edfu temple in Egypt, where texts detail the coming of gods who descended from the sky. Some scholars argue that these texts could be referencing the Anunnaki, who were believed to have come to Earth, bringing with them both gifts and chaos. The myths surrounding the creation of civilization in both Mesopotamia and Egypt involve divine beings who bestow knowledge upon humankind. In Egypt, it is often the god Ra who takes center stage, but there are several instances where his actions seem to parallel those of the Anunnaki, teaching humanity wisdom, giving them the tools to build great monuments, and governing over the heavens. However, mainstream scholars remain skeptical of any direct connection between the Anunnaki and ancient Egypt. They argue that similarities in mythology are simply the product of common human imagination, stories told across cultures to explain the mysteries of the world. The gods, they say, are not visitors from the stars, but the personifications of natural forces, celestial bodies, and the human experience itself. And yet, despite the skeptics, the questions remain. Could the Anunnaki, like the gods of Egypt, have visited Earth in ancient times? Did their knowledge shape the course of civilization, not just in Mesopotamia, but also in Egypt? Was the incredible sophistication of Egypt's architecture, religion, and astronomy a gift passed down from a race of advanced beings, or was it the culmination of human ingenuity? As we explore the mysteries of Egypt, the Anunnaki connection may seem speculative to some, but the parallels between these ancient civilizations continue to provoke thought. Could there be a deeper cosmic thread connecting the gods of Egypt to those of Mesopotamia? Or are we simply seeing what we want to see? Patterns in the ancient past that speak to our modern desire for answers that transcend time and space. One thing is certain. As we dig deeper into the forgotten corners of ancient Egypt, the mysteries only grow more profound. Whether or not the Anunnaki truly had a hand in shaping Egypt's great legacy, the question of how such extraordinary knowledge appeared in these ancient civilizations may forever remain unanswered. And perhaps, buried beneath the sands of time, the truth still waits to be uncovered. Tucked beneath the arid sands of Egypt, far from the bustle of its ancient cities, lies a place of extraordinary mystery. The Serapeum, a subterranean complex whose purpose and origins remain cloaked in uncertainty. This site, located near the ancient city of Abydos, holds within its depths some of the most puzzling artifacts ever discovered, and continues to elude definitive explanation. As we descend into the heart of the Serapeum, we enter a vast underground labyrinth, an eerie, stone-carved expanse that seems almost too deliberate in its design. The walls, high and imposing, are lined with massive stone boxes, sarcophagi, each weighing many tons. their surfaces smooth and polished as if shaped by a precision far beyond what ancient tools were thought to be capable of. Yet there is no recorded account of who these sarcophagi were made for, nor why they were placed here in such an intricate manner. They are not tombs, nor are they the burial chambers of pharaohs. Instead, they are enormous, empty stone boxes, each one almost identical, each one shrouded in silence. The Serapeum was rediscovered in 1850 by the French archaeologist Auguste Mariette, who was exploring the ancient sites of Egypt. Yet even after more than a century and a half of research, we are still left with more questions than answers. The sheer scale of the tomb-like structure, along with the size and weight of the sarcophagi, suggests that this was not a site of ordinary burial. The craftsmanship is unlike anything else in Egypt, with stones so precisely carved that modern tools and techniques would still struggle to replicate them. How, then, were these massive blocks of granite moved and shaped, given the technological limitations of the time? Some scholars believe that the Serapeum was a sacred burial ground for the Apophis, the sacred bull worshipped at Abydos. According to ancient Egyptian tradition, the bull was seen as a divine manifestation of the god Osiris, and his death and resurrection were central to Egypt's religious rites. The Apis bulls were believed to embody the spirit of Osiris, and upon their death, their mummified bodies were interred with great ceremony in the Serapeum. The sarcophagi, therefore, could have been created to house these sacred animals in the belief that they would play an important role in the afterlife. Yet, even this explanation does not fully satisfy the mystery. The sheer number of sarcophagi and the size of the chambers suggests something much more elaborate and purposeful than the burial of bulls alone. There is also the question of the age of the Serapeum. Traditional estimates place the construction of the site around the time of the New Kingdom, approximately 3,000 years ago, but recent discoveries have cast doubt on this timeline. The quality of the craftsmanship and the sophisticated layout of the site suggest a far older date, potentially predating the New Kingdom by several centuries. If the Serapeum truly is much older than traditionally thought, what does this say about the ancient Egyptians' understanding of architecture, technology, and religious symbolism? Some fringe theories point to a more extraordinary origin for the Serapeum, suggesting that its purpose and construction may not be entirely of Egyptian design. One theory proposes that the site may have served as a repository for sacred knowledge or advanced technology, possibly connected to the lost wisdom of ancient civilizations, perhaps even beyond Egypt itself. Could the Serapeum have been built as a repository of lost knowledge, perhaps linked to ancient traditions or cosmic wisdom passed down from older, more advanced civilizations? Is it possible that the enormous sarcophagi were not intended to hold bulls, but were instead created to house something else entirely, a source of power, or a sacred artifact of unimaginable importance? Compounding the mystery is the discovery of strange hieroglyphic inscriptions within the Serapeum. These inscriptions appear to be incomplete or partially damaged, and some of the symbols do not match the typical Egyptian script. Could these markings be part of a hidden language or code, perhaps linked to ancient spiritual practices or a forgotten astronomical system? If so, why were these symbols not recorded in the more widely known hieroglyphs, and what could they reveal about the true nature of the Serapeum? Another peculiar element of the Serapeum is the granite sarcophagi themselves. These massive stone boxes, some weighing as much as 70 tons, are so finely crafted that it is hard to believe they could have been created with the simple copper tools and wooden sledges believed to be available to the ancient Egyptians. The precision with which the stones were carved and transported has led some researchers to speculate that the Egyptians may have had access to advanced techniques, perhaps even lost technologies, that allowed them to manipulate stone on an almost supernatural level. Could these techniques have been passed down from a more advanced civilization, or were they the result of an entirely different kind of knowledge altogether? The mysterious nature of the Serapeum extends beyond just the physical site. It reaches into the very heart of Egypt's religious and cultural practices. The fact that this site was rediscovered after centuries of abandonment raises even more questions. Why was it hidden from view for so long? And what could its builders have intended to conceal from future generations? Was the Serapeum meant to be a secret sanctuary, a place that only a select few could access, or a reminder of a time when knowledge was guarded and not meant to be shared with the common people? As we explore deeper into the mysteries of Egypt, the Serapeum stands as a testament to how much we still do not know about the ancient world. Could the secrets hidden beneath the sands offer insight into a forgotten chapter of Egypt's past? Or could they point to an entirely different kind of knowledge, one that transcends time and space? Despite more than a century of study, the Serapeum remains a place of profound mystery, inviting us to consider not only the ancient Egyptians' extraordinary achievements, but also the knowledge that may still be waiting to be uncovered, hidden deep beneath the sands. Is the Serapeum a relic of Egypt's religious history, or something far more enigmatic, the key to understanding a lost chapter of human civilization? The answers may still be buried, waiting for the right moment to emerge. Imagine standing in front of a statue, one that, on first glance, seems to be a mere representation of an ancient scribe, their reed pen poised over papyrus, capturing the weight of history in their steady hands. This scribe, like so many others from ancient Egypt, is a symbol of wisdom, learning, and authority. But what if, behind the serene exterior of these figures, lies a secret, a mystery hidden within the very structure of the statues themselves? This is the riddle posed by the sealed compartments found within some Egyptian scribe statues. Scattered across tombs and archaeological sites, these statues are unlike the typical depictions of noblemen, pharaohs, or gods. Their faces, often carved with quiet dignity, appear at first to be simple effigies of scholars or clerks. But when closely examined, certain statues reveal an astonishing anomaly. Hidden chambers, sealed off from view, sometimes containing objects or inscriptions that no one seems to fully understand. The first discovery of such a compartment dates back to the late 19th century, when archaeologists were excavating the tomb of a wealthy official. Among the array of statues placed near the tomb's entrance was one of a scribe, meticulously crafted from stone. But as the statue was carefully cleaned and studied, something unusual was noted. There was a small, inconspicuous opening in the base of the statue, just large enough to suggest the presence of a hidden space within. What lay inside was puzzling. The compartment was not simply empty, but contained a scroll, made from a material unlike any other found in the tomb, along with a talismanic object, a small amulet with inscriptions that seemed to speak of lost knowledge that was never meant to be shared with the common people. This discovery raised more questions than it answered. Why would a statue, an object designed to last for eternity, hide such treasures? Was the compartment a deliberate choice, a way to safeguard the knowledge from tomb robbers? Or was it something more, perhaps a ritualistic or symbolic act, intended to protect the deceased scribe's wisdom in the afterlife? As researchers have delved deeper into the enigma of these sealed compartments, further examples have emerged. In several cases, compartments have been discovered not only in statues of scribes, but also in other figures representing officials and high priests, each one offering a glimpse into what could be forgotten knowledge or ancient rites. In some instances, the contents of these hidden compartments have been linked to texts, fragments of papyrus that seem to describe rituals, magical formulas, or even philosophical treatises. These texts often appear to be either incomplete or damaged, and there is no consensus on their true meaning. The language used in these texts does not always match that of the mainstream Egyptian scripts, raising the possibility that these were meant to convey messages only to a select few, perhaps an elite circle with access to esoteric knowledge. Why hide these secrets in such a manner? Could these sealed compartments have been used to protect the most sensitive or dangerous knowledge, information that, if lost or misinterpreted, might lead to turmoil or destruction? Or were they simply part of a ritualistic tradition, where the knowledge within these compartments was believed to protect the individual in the afterlife? Some scholars suggest that these hidden spaces could be more than just protective containers for knowledge. They might also represent a deeper metaphysical understanding of life and death. The sealed compartment could symbolize the soul's journey, hidden away in a physical vessel, only to be revealed when the time is right. This idea plays into Egypt's broader belief system, where hidden meanings and messages were often encoded into art and architecture. In this sense, the statues themselves may not have merely been functional. They could have been keys to unlocking deeper spiritual truths. But there are also more speculative theories. Some researchers have pointed out that these compartments, hidden away in statues, bear a striking resemblance to time capsules, objects sealed away in anticipation of a future time. Could these compartments have been created with the intention of passing on knowledge to future generations, some distant time when their secrets would be understood? If so, why were they sealed so securely? Were the scribes, or whoever commissioned these statues, warning future generations to tread carefully? Interestingly, a number of these sealed statues have been found in tombs associated with high-ranking officials and priests, people who wielded considerable influence. Was the hidden knowledge reserved for the highest echelons of Egyptian society, with the belief that only the elite could be trusted with the power contained in these writings? Or was it meant to be a form of protection, information that could only be accessed in times of crisis, a safeguard against potential chaos or disaster? Another intriguing question arises when we consider the nature of the inscriptions found in these sealed compartments. Some of the texts appear to describe rituals or processes that cannot be easily understood by modern scholars. These aren't just prayers or incantations. They seem to contain blueprints for rituals that might alter the very fabric of reality itself. Could these inscriptions be remnants of an ancient technology? Perhaps a forgotten form of power, one based on spiritual or metaphysical principles that has been lost to time? Then there is the question of why certain statues, particularly those of scribes, were chosen as the vessels for this hidden knowledge. Why these individuals, who were thought to simply record and transcribe the events of the world around them, were tasked with guarding such mysterious secrets remains one of the greatest puzzles. Could scribes, in their role as keepers of knowledge, have been seen as spiritual guardians, not just of written words, but of hidden powers too? And so, these sealed compartments, tucked inside seemingly ordinary statues, continue to intrigue and mystify us. The purpose behind them is still unclear, and the knowledge hidden within remains largely inaccessible. Were these compartments merely a method of safeguarding sacred knowledge, or is there a deeper, more profound meaning behind their existence? As we continue to search for answers, one thing becomes abundantly clear. Within these enigmatic statues lies a mystery that has yet to be fully unraveled. What secrets do these sealed compartments truly contain? And what might we discover if we can unlock their hidden messages? Is it possible that, hidden within the delicate carvings of a scribe, lies a wisdom far beyond our comprehension, waiting, perhaps, for the right time to reveal itself? In the shadow of Egypt's towering pyramids and the age-old temples of Thebes, there exists a mystery that has defied understanding for millennia. It is a mystery wrapped in the sands of time, a riddle carved into the very stones of Egyptian history, one that speaks of power, revolution, and an abrupt departure from centuries of tradition. At the heart of this enigma is the figure of Akhenaten, a pharaoh whose reign stands in stark contrast to the dynastic stability of his predecessors. His very name, meaning effective for Aten, links him directly to the sun god Aten, an entity he not only worshipped, but promoted as the sole god of Egypt, displacing the revered pantheon of gods that had guided Egyptian life for over 2,000 years. To understand the depth of the mystery surrounding Akhenaten, we must first immerse ourselves in the city he built, Akhenaten, modern-day Amarna. Located along the Nile's east bank, Amarna was an architectural marvel, an expansive city that seemed to rise out of the desert itself, dedicated entirely to the worship of Aten. The city's grand temples and sprawling royal palaces were designed to reflect this new religious order, one that was starkly different from the polytheistic world of Egypt's past. Akhenaten's radical shift in religious policy was nothing short of revolutionary. In a land that had venerated gods like Ra, Osiris, and Isis for centuries, Akhenaten's push to install a singular, abstract deity as Egypt's sole object of worship alienated priests, noble families, and citizens alike. Temples to other gods were abandoned, and their statues were defaced or destroyed. It was, by all accounts, a religious upheaval of the highest magnitude. But as monumental as his reign was, it is also the source of profound mystery. Why would Akhenaten, the once celebrated ruler of Egypt, abandon centuries of tradition and faith to promote a solitary sun god? What drove him to such extremes? Historians and Egyptologists have struggled to fully explain Akhenaten's heretic reign. Some suggest that his religious reforms were a sincere belief, an effort to cleanse Egypt of what he saw as corruption in the worship of multiple gods. By focusing on Aten, the sun disk, Akhenaten may have envisioned a more harmonious, unified Egypt, one where religious and political power could merge under his own rule. Yet others argue that there was something more to Akhenaten's intentions. Some believe that he was attempting to centralize power in a way that would have reduced the influence of the powerful priesthoods of Egypt, especially the priests of Amun, the most powerful god at the time. By promoting Aten as the one true god, Akhenaten could potentially strip power away from the temples and their influential priests and place religious authority squarely in his hands. This radical shift in theology, however, was not universally accepted. Akhenaten's reforms led to political instability, and his focus on Aten gradually began to fracture the ancient unity of Egypt. His successors, notably Tutankhamun, reversed many of his reforms, re-establishing the old gods and their temples. Akhenaten himself, after his death, was virtually erased from Egyptian history. His city of Akhenaten was abandoned and forgotten, and his name was systematically removed from the king lists. For centuries, Akhenaten was known only as the Heretic king, a figure whose reign had been an aberration in the otherwise smooth continuity of Egyptian civilization. Yet, even in the face of this systematic erasure, new questions continue to surface, questions that suggest that the enigma of Akhenaten is far from solved. For one, there is the matter of Akhenaten's physical appearance. Unlike other Egyptian rulers, Akhenaten was depicted in an almost alien fashion in the art that survives from his reign. His elongated face, prominent chin, and exaggerated features have led some to speculate that he may have had a rare physical condition, such as Marfan syndrome or Frost syndrome, which could explain his unusual features. But others have wondered if these exaggerated depictions were a reflection of his spiritual beliefs. His appearance might have been intentionally designed to mirror the sun's rays, symbolizing the sun god's power. Was it an effort to present himself as a divine intermediary, a living embodiment of Aten? More intriguingly, Akhenaten's sudden disappearance from the historical record continues to spark debate. His death is shrouded in mystery, as no definitive explanation exists for how he passed away or why his successors immediately moved to erase his legacy. Some have speculated that Akhenaten might have been assassinated due to his unpopular reforms, while others wonder if he died of natural causes, but was then deliberately erased from history due to the controversial nature of his reign. Why was there such a hushed disappearance? Was Akhenaten's legacy truly so dangerous to Egypt that his very name was to be wiped clean from memory? And then there is the question of Aten itself. Was Akhenaten's monotheistic shift a genuine expression of religious truth, or was it part of a greater cosmic understanding? In his devotion to the sun god, was Akhenaten privy to ancient knowledge, perhaps even knowledge that was outside of time or space? Could there have been a more mystical or philosophical element to his belief system that was never fully understood by the Egyptians themselves? A belief that is now lost to history. The most perplexing mystery of all, however, may lie in the strange and relatively recent discovery of hidden tombs near Akhenaten's abandoned city of Akhenaten. These tombs appear to belong to royal family members, possibly even to Akhenaten's children. Could these tombs hold the key to understanding the true nature of Akhenaten's reign? Are there clues hidden within these forgotten royal burials that might shed light on why the pharaoh's name was deliberately erased? The questions surrounding Akhenaten's heretic reign are vast and varied, stretching the limits of historical and archaeological inquiry. Did he simply attempt to introduce a more idealistic, harmonious religion? Or was there something more? Perhaps a hidden agenda or a greater purpose that drove him to make such sweeping changes? And why, after his death, was his legacy so utterly buried? What was it about Akhenaten's reign that still causes scholars and thinkers to pause, to question, and to wonder if something more profound lies just beneath the surface of his heretic rule? The mystery of Akhenaten, Egypt's heretic king, remains one of the most enigmatic chapters in the history of ancient Egypt. As we uncover more about his time, the sands may slowly reveal what was once hidden, but perhaps only when the time is right. In the vast desert of Giza, beneath the relentless gaze of the sun and the shifting sands of time, one structure stands above all others: the Great Pyramid of Khufu. This monumental feat of engineering has long captured the imagination of historians, archaeologists, and dreamers alike. For thousands of years, it has been a symbol of ancient power, mystery, and ingenuity. But within its massive stones, there lies a puzzle that continues to elude even the most seasoned experts: the pyramid's impossibly precise alignment with true north. When we look at the Great Pyramid, we are immediately struck by its sheer scale. Standing 481 feet tall, it was the tallest man-made structure on Earth for over 3,800 years. Yet, it is not just its size or grandeur that makes it an architectural marvel. It is the fact that, despite being built more than 4,500 years ago, the pyramid's four sides are aligned so precisely with the four cardinal directions that their deviation is less than 0.067 degrees. In comparison, even the most advanced modern instruments and construction methods struggle to replicate such accuracy. The question that immediately arises is, how did the ancient Egyptians manage to achieve such a feat without the technology we now take for granted? They had no compasses, no advanced measuring tools, no GPS satellites to guide them. Yet, through methods that remain unclear, the Egyptians were able to orient the pyramid with such exactitude that its sides align almost perfectly with the cardinal points of true north, south, east, and west. This precision seems almost supernatural, given the limitations of the tools they had at their disposal. Was this the work of advanced knowledge that has been lost to time? Or is there something else at play, something beyond the realm of conventional understanding? Mainstream theories offer a few plausible explanations for the pyramid's alignment. Some suggest that the ancient Egyptians used the stars to guide their efforts. The North Star, Polaris, has remained a constant fixture in the night sky for millennia, and it is believed that they may have used this star to align the pyramid. By observing the star's position and tracking its movement, they could have found true north with remarkable accuracy. Yet, some scholars argue that Polaris may not have been the easiest reference point at the time the pyramid was constructed. The star's position in the sky would have been somewhat different, and it might not have been as reliable as it is today. Others believe that the ancient Egyptians used the sun itself to calibrate their construction. The idea is that they might have employed solar observations during specific times of day, particularly around the solstices, to establish precise directions. With the use of simple tools like plumb lines, sighting rods, or shadow clocks, they could have marked out the exact positions of the sun and adjusted the pyramid's alignment accordingly. Still, there's a lingering question. How did they account for the slight variations in the Earth's tilt, or the shifting positions of the sun over millennia? Could they have known such details without access to advanced astronomical knowledge? However, these theories still fall short of explaining the full extent of the alignment's precision. The reality is that modern builders, armed with lasers, computers, and high-tech tools, still find it difficult to replicate the exact alignment of the Great Pyramid. This fact raises a deeper question. Could the ancient Egyptians have possessed knowledge that we, today, have lost or forgotten? Could their understanding of geometry, astronomy, and even the natural world have been more advanced than we give them credit for? Some fringe theories take this a step further. One popular hypothesis suggests that the Egyptians might have had access to some form of ancient technology, perhaps lost knowledge passed down from an unknown civilization, or even extraterrestrial influences. While these ideas are often met with skepticism, they continue to fuel the debate. Could the Egyptians have had access to a more advanced understanding of geomagnetic fields or even methods of levitation to position the stones with such precision? Was there some force or hidden knowledge that allowed them to achieve this feat, one that we may not yet fully comprehend? Then, there are those who propose a more spiritual explanation. The alignment of the pyramid might not have been just about directional accuracy. It may have had a deeper symbolic meaning. Perhaps the precise alignment with true north was intended to connect the Pharaoh, and by extension, Egypt, to the heavens. Was the pyramid in some way designed to channel or reflect cosmic energies? Was it intended to act as a bridge between the earthly realm and the divine? Interestingly, there are other structures around the world, many much older than the Great Pyramid, that share similar alignments. Some of these, like the temples at Teotihuacan in Mexico or Stonehenge in England, also exhibit remarkable precision in their orientation with the cardinal points. Could these distant cultures have been tapping into the same ancient knowledge that the Egyptians used? Or was there some common thread, perhaps a shared mystical or scientific understanding, that transcended borders and time? As we look at the Great Pyramid's perfect alignment, it is impossible not to wonder what mysteries lie hidden in its stones. Was this precision purely the result of sophisticated engineering, or does it point to something deeper, something we have yet to uncover? How did the ancient Egyptians achieve such extraordinary accuracy with tools that seem almost rudimentary by today's standards? And more importantly, what does this suggest about the lost knowledge of the past? The mystery of the Great Pyramid's alignment with true north is one that may never be fully answered. Perhaps the Egyptians were simply brilliant engineers who found a way to align their monument with an accuracy that defies our expectations. Or perhaps there is something more, something hidden within the very stones of the pyramid, waiting to be discovered. As we continue to explore this enigma, the question remains: what other secrets might the Great Pyramid be guarding beneath its silent, towering presence? Only time and further investigation may reveal what lies at the heart of this ancient mystery. Deep in the desolate deserts of the Nile Delta lies a forgotten city, its name whispering through the ages: Tanis. To the casual observer, it appears to be nothing more than a scattering of ruins, barely noticeable amidst the shifting sands. Yet, beneath the surface of this seemingly barren land, the echoes of a once great metropolis reverberate with mysteries that continue to elude historians and archaeologists alike. In ancient Egypt, Tanis was a city of considerable importance. Situated in the northeastern part of the Nile Delta, it served as the capital of Egypt during the 22nd dynasty and became a powerful center of political and religious life. Tanis, known in antiquity as Zan or Janet, played a key role in Egypt's long history. It was here that the great pharaohs of the 21st and 22nd dynasties ruled, and here that numerous temples, tombs, and royal monuments were constructed. Yet, despite its significance, Tanis faded into obscurity long before its rediscovery by modern archaeologists. The city's exact fate has puzzled researchers for years. It was once a thriving urban hub, yet it seemed to vanish almost entirely from historical records. Was it abandoned after a series of catastrophic events? Did political upheaval cause its downfall, or did the Nile's unpredictable flooding spell the end of Tanis as a major city? What led to the ultimate decay of this once great metropolis? In the 19th century, excavations began in earnest, and the world was shocked to discover the remnants of Tanis buried beneath the desert sands. But what lay buried in the ruins was not just the city's physical remains, it was the tantalizing promise of lost knowledge. Some of the greatest discoveries in Egyptology came from Tanis, including the tombs of several pharaohs and the remains of an extraordinary royal necropolis. Yet, these discoveries raised just as many questions as they answered. Perhaps the most curious find came in 1939 when the French Egyptologist Pierre Montet uncovered a series of royal tombs in the Tanis necropolis. Inside, he found stunning treasures: golden statues, richly decorated sarcophagi, and ornate jewelry, but also an unsettling discovery. The tombs of Tanis had been looted long before Montet arrived. While the robbers had left behind some of the most valuable items, they had also left clues that have caused many to wonder about the nature of the city's downfall. The most mysterious of all Montet's discoveries were the mummified remains of several kings, including Hetepheres, whose tomb held not just his body but his treasures as well. Yet the tombs themselves were not entirely untouched. Some had been disturbed, their contents scattered or removed. What happened to the wealth of Tanis? Was it looted by conquerors, or could it have been hidden away by the city's rulers in a desperate attempt to protect it from an unknown threat? The city's ultimate decline is a mystery that has sparked numerous theories. Some scholars argue that Tanis was abandoned because of a changing climate, with the Nile Delta becoming less fertile over time. This theory suggests that as the Nile shifted its course, or as regional climates changed, the once fertile land surrounding Tanis could no longer sustain its people. Others have proposed that political instability, such as internal strife or invasions by foreign powers, led to the city's fall. Could Tanis have been the victim of warfare or conquest by the neighboring Libyans, who were known to have invaded Egypt during this period? Yet there are some who suggest that the city's destruction may have been a more deliberate act, one that involved the ancient Egyptians themselves. Could Tanis have been intentionally abandoned, its treasures buried and hidden to keep them from falling into enemy hands? Was the city's downfall part of a larger, more complex ritual or religious event? Was there an unknown, esoteric purpose behind the disappearance of Tanis? One of the most fascinating aspects of Tanis is the mystery surrounding its connection to the gods. The city was home to the Temple of Amun, a sacred site dedicated to one of Egypt's most powerful deities. Temples like these were not just places of worship. They were repositories of knowledge, where priests guarded secrets about the cosmos, life, and death. Could the city's demise have been linked to some ancient prophecy or divine judgment? Was Tanis chosen as a location to enact a divine plan, with the city's eventual disappearance serving as part of some greater celestial scheme? The serpentine roads leading into Tanis, the ruins of towering walls, and the scattered remnants of its once grand buildings leave behind an unsettling feeling that something deeper lies beneath. Was the city's story truly finished when it faded from history? Or could there still be clues buried beneath the sands, waiting to be uncovered by future generations? Indeed, the ruins of Tanis speak in a quiet but insistent voice, hinting at lost knowledge, forgotten rituals, and a city whose story has not yet been fully told. As archaeologists continue to excavate its tombs, uncovering more artifacts and piecing together its fragmented history, the mystery of the lost city of Tanis remains one of Egypt's most compelling and enigmatic chapters. What secrets does Tanis still hold? And why did the sands of time bury its story so deeply? As we gaze upon its ruins, we are reminded that some mysteries are not easily unraveled, and perhaps some questions are meant to remain unanswered, for now. Beneath the bustling streets of Cairo, Egypt, lies a hidden world, an enigmatic network of underground lakes that, for centuries, have remained shrouded in mystery. At first glance, the city's surface appears to be just a thriving, modern metropolis, with its historical monuments, vibrant markets, and the mighty Nile flowing nearby. But beneath this urban landscape, an unseen world persists, one that stirs the imagination and raises more questions than it answers. The discovery of these underground lakes is as captivating as it is perplexing. Little is known about how these vast subterranean bodies of water came to be, and even less is understood about their true purpose, if indeed they serve any. These lakes are not the result of recent human activity or natural formations, but rather a strange, almost forgotten chapter in Cairo's long history. Located deep beneath the city's foundations, they are hidden far from the prying eyes of ordinary citizens. Their existence challenges the conventional understanding of the city's development. One of the most significant underground lakes lies beneath the heart of Cairo, in an area that dates back to ancient times. These mysterious bodies of water were not discovered in any traditional archaeological dig, but rather during the construction of modern infrastructure. Workers digging deep into the earth, building metro systems and subterranean tunnels, unexpectedly encountered vast, undisturbed lakes beneath the city's surface. How did these lakes come to be? Many experts believe they are remnants of a long-forgotten system of aquifers that were once used for irrigation and water storage. Some speculate that they may have been part of a complex water management system employed by the ancient Egyptians to support their thriving civilization, providing a steady source of water to their communities and farming fields. After all, ancient Egypt's survival depended heavily on access to the Nile and the management of its water. However, as researchers continue to investigate these lakes, they have uncovered intriguing anomalies. Some of the lakes are far larger than expected, with deep, unexplained cavities stretching beneath the city for miles. Their exact depth is still a matter of debate. Most estimates suggest they could extend as far as several hundred feet. The composition of the water is also strange. In some cases, it is remarkably clear, while in others it is brackish, and the overall quality of the water varies significantly from lake to lake. Could these bodies of water have been engineered or even modified to serve a specific, unknown purpose? One of the most tantalizing aspects of the mystery involves the strange objects that have been found within these lakes. Divers and exploration teams, attempting to study the lakes more closely, have occasionally reported the discovery of odd artifacts, pieces of stone, fragments of ancient pottery, and even metal objects, deep within the water. Could these remnants be linked to a long-lost civilization, or even to ancient Egyptians themselves? Perhaps these lakes were not merely reservoirs, but served as ritualistic or ceremonial sites used in sacred water rites that we have yet to fully understand. As they explore deeper into the subterranean world, some researchers suggest that these lakes may have served as symbolic barriers or even protective sanctuaries. Given Egypt's long history of sacred beliefs surrounding water, it is possible that these lakes were once regarded as the gateways to the divine, or as places of initiation and transformation. Could they have been used by high priests in ancient Egypt for secret rituals, away from the prying eyes of ordinary citizens? Was the hidden nature of these lakes intentional, as they were meant to be places of worship or mystery, shielded from the outside world? Another theory suggests that these lakes might be the remnants of a much older civilization, one predating Egypt as we know it. Could these subterranean bodies of water be part of a lost world buried under Cairo's urban sprawl? Some even speculate that they could be connected to the mythical Atlantis or similar ancient cultures that existed before recorded history. The idea of an ancient, technologically advanced civilization capable of creating such an underground water system is a captivating one, but it remains speculative at best. What's particularly striking is that these underground lakes have remained remarkably untouched by modern development. Despite the rapid expansion of Cairo, and the fact that these lakes lie beneath some of the most densely populated parts of the city, they have largely been left undisturbed, perhaps because of their sheer inaccessibility. Their hidden nature, tucked away deep below the surface, has allowed them to remain relatively undisturbed, offering a tantalizing glimpse into a mysterious past. Still, the truth behind these lakes remains elusive. Are they the remnants of an ancient water management system? Or perhaps something more enigmatic? An offering of some long-forgotten religion or a portal to a lost history that we have yet to comprehend? Could they be the key to unraveling a deeper mystery about Egypt's origins or its mysterious past? Or is their true purpose still hidden beneath layers of myth, time, and sand? As researchers continue their investigations, the mystery of the underground lakes beneath Cairo remains unsolved. Could there still be more hidden chambers, lost secrets, or artifacts waiting to be uncovered in this submerged world? And how many more mysteries lie hidden in the shadows just beneath our feet? Only time will tell. In the vast, unyielding expanse of the Sahara Desert, a strange and mysterious phenomenon has captured the imagination of scientists, archaeologists, and explorers for decades. Among the shifting sands and ancient dunes, there exists a rare and curious material known as desert glass. Found in several locations throughout Egypt, particularly near the Great Sand Sea, these shards of translucent glass raise more questions than they answer. They are not only an enigma in their formation, but also a symbol of something far greater, an unexplained event that could stretch back thousands of years. The glass itself is striking. It gleams in the sun like golden jewels scattered across the barren desert floor. Known as Libyan desert glass, this substance, which can take on a range of colors from yellow to green, forms in large, smooth fragments that look almost deliberately crafted. But the most striking feature is its origin, one that has puzzled geologists for years. This glass is not the result of natural processes such as volcanic activity, nor is it an artifact of ancient human creation. It appears to have formed from an event so extraordinary that its cause seems almost beyond comprehension. The prevailing scientific explanation for the glass's formation is extreme heat. Researchers believe that the intense temperatures required to create such glass, temperatures in excess of 7,700 degrees, 3,092 degrees, could only have been generated by something extraordinary, like the impact of a meteorite. Indeed, several scientists have theorized that the Libyan desert glass was the result of a massive asteroidal impact that occurred several thousand years ago, perhaps as far back as 26 million years. The theory suggests that the heat from this collision melted the desert's silica-rich sands, which then solidified into the glass shards we see today. However, not everyone is convinced by this explanation. The exact location of the glass fields scattered across the western Egyptian desert has led some to wonder if there could be something more to the story, perhaps a secret yet to be uncovered, lying hidden beneath the sands. In particular, the precise distribution of the glass raises certain doubts. Unlike typical meteorite impacts, the glass deposits seem too vast and concentrated in particular regions, and the lack of a clear crater or impact site has left some to speculate that the glass may have come from some kind of man-made event or even a long-lost civilization. Further complicating the mystery is the age of the glass. Despite the meteorite theory, a number of researchers have found evidence that the glass dates back to ancient Egypt, rather than the prehistoric period suggested by many geologists. Archaeological finds, including tools and artifacts, appear to be associated with the glass, and some have even suggested that ancient Egyptians might have been aware of the desert glass. In fact, the glass has been used throughout history as a material of fascination, with some evidence hinting that the Egyptians valued the glass highly. In ancient Egypt, it was sometimes used to create jewelry or ceremonial objects, which suggests that the Egyptians might have viewed the material as sacred or imbued with special significance. Could the desert glass have had a religious or mystical significance for the Egyptians? Could it have been seen as a gift from the gods, a physical manifestation of a cosmic event or a divine omen? Ancient Egyptians were known to imbue ordinary objects with symbolic meanings, especially those that seemed to defy natural explanation. Could the glass have been used in rituals, perhaps even associated with the Egyptian gods of the sky and cosmic order, such as Horus or Ra? Some fringe theories take this idea even further, suggesting that the desert glass could be linked to an even more mysterious event, an alien encounter, or the remnants of a highly advanced technology lost to time. Could an ancient civilization, possibly predating Egypt, have harnessed the power to create such glass? Or, some theorize, might the glass have been part of a higher power's technology, leaving behind traces of their influence in the form of strange, otherworldly artifacts? There are also those who suggest that the glass may have been formed by something even more cataclysmic, such as a cosmic explosion, a massive burst of energy from space that altered the fabric of the region's landscape. Could the glass be evidence of a much older, perhaps extraterrestrial force acting on Earth's environment? And could this cosmic catastrophe be tied to the rise and fall of ancient civilizations long forgotten in the sands of time? Despite all these theories, one question remains: what is the true origin of the Libyan desert glass? Was it a natural occurrence, the result of a meteorite crash that shaped the ancient landscape? Or does it point to something more profound, an event of cosmic significance, or even a long-lost mystery tied to an advanced civilization? The desert glass continues to be one of Egypt's most compelling unsolved mysteries. Beneath the blistering sun of the Sahara, the glass remains, gleaming, silent, and unyielding to time. And as long as it endures, the question lingers: what secrets are locked within these ancient, shimmering shards of the past? In the heart of the Djoser necropolis, not far from the Great Pyramids of Giza, there lies a pair of pyramids that have perplexed archaeologists and historians for centuries: the Bent Pyramid and the Red Pyramid, both attributed to King Sneferu, the founder of Egypt's 4th dynasty. These two colossal structures, with their strikingly different shapes, present one of the greatest architectural puzzles in ancient Egyptian history. The Bent Pyramid, with its unusual design, is particularly intriguing. Standing at nearly 100 meters tall, it is not the symmetrical, smooth-sided shape we expect from the more famous pyramids of later pharaohs. Instead, its sides start at a steep angle and then suddenly change midway, creating the distinctive bent appearance. It's almost as if the builders were experimenting with a design, only to abandon it halfway through. Historians have long speculated about the reasons for this abrupt change in angle. Some believe that the shift was an unintended result of structural issues encountered during construction. The pyramid's inner chambers and passageways show signs of stress and uneven settling, which could suggest that the structure was not as stable as intended. Could the builders have miscalculated the angle at which the pyramid was being built? And once the problems were discovered, they were forced to adjust it in an attempt to salvage the project? Others suggest a more deliberate explanation. Perhaps the bent pyramid was part of a series of architectural experiments, a way for Sneferu's engineers to test the limits of pyramid construction before attempting the grander, smoother designs seen in later pyramids. Sneferu is known to have commissioned several pyramid projects, and the bent pyramid might have been one of the early stages of this architectural evolution. Could it have been a prototype for the more iconic, perfected pyramids that would follow? The change in angle might have been a necessary innovation to avoid the potential collapsing of the structure, but what caused the original design to fail remains unknown. Just a short distance away stands the Red Pyramid, often regarded as Egypt's first true pyramid, with its smooth, perfect form. Rising to a height of about 104 meters, the Red Pyramid is named after the reddish hue of the limestone casing that once covered it, hues that still catch the light at dawn and dusk, casting long shadows over the surrounding desert. Unlike the bent pyramid, which seems to defy conventional design logic, the Red Pyramid appears to be the fulfillment of the vision that began with Sneferu's earlier experiments. But even the Red Pyramid holds secrets of its own. It is structurally flawless in comparison to the bent pyramid, yet its construction was no less ambitious. The sheer scale and precision of the Red Pyramid reflect a level of craftsmanship that seems ahead of its time. How did Sneferu's engineers master the techniques to create such a large, stable structure? Could they have been working with knowledge and skills lost to history? The pyramid's near-perfect shape raises questions about the advanced understanding of geometry and engineering in ancient Egypt. What resources or techniques might have been employed to achieve such precision? Was there some kind of ancient knowledge, perhaps passed down from a previous civilization, that allowed for these monumental achievements? One of the most fascinating elements of the Red Pyramid's construction is its relationship to the bent pyramid. Some scholars believe that the two pyramids were intended to be part of a single grand architectural vision, yet their differences suggest a series of trial and error steps taken over the course of several years. The design flaws in the bent pyramid might have led Sneferu to make significant adjustments, resulting in the more refined and successful Red Pyramid. But were these mistakes truly accidental, or is there something more to the story? While the exact reasons for the shift in design remain unclear, the two pyramids of Sneferu stand as markers of an extraordinary period of experimentation and architectural innovation. Perhaps the bent pyramid was the result of a bold vision, an attempt to reach the heavens through a bold, unconventional shape that ultimately had to be altered due to unforeseen challenges. And yet, the Red Pyramid may have been the realization of that same vision, perfected through trial, error, and innovation. Some fringe theories suggest that the peculiarities of these pyramids might not be solely the product of human ingenuity. Could there have been outside influences at play in the design and construction of these pyramids? Some have proposed that the unusual shape of the bent pyramid might indicate that it was designed with a purpose beyond just the pharaoh's tomb, perhaps intended to align with celestial events or embody symbolic meanings that we have yet to understand fully. Could the pyramids themselves be messages left behind by a lost civilization, or perhaps a civilization not of this world? As researchers continue to uncover new layers of history within these ancient structures, the questions surrounding the bent and red pyramids remain open-ended. What was the real reason behind their construction? Were they the result of trial and error? Or is there a deeper, more cosmic connection at play? The mystery of Sneferu's pyramids is one that might never fully be solved, leaving us to wonder what secrets they still hold beneath their monumental stones. In the end, the bent and red pyramids stand as a testament to the ancient Egyptians' relentless pursuit of perfection, a journey marked by both failures and triumphs, each stone a piece of the greater puzzle that continues to captivate our imaginations. What else might these pyramids still have to tell us? In the vast expanse of the ancient Egyptian necropolis of Saqqara, where the dusty winds whisper over the sun-baked sands, lies one of the most puzzling tombs of the Old Kingdom. It is the resting place of Pharaoh Teti, the first ruler of the 6th dynasty, a pharaoh whose reign, although marked by achievements, is shrouded in enigma, particularly when it comes to the mysterious circumstances surrounding his burial. Teti's tomb, found in the pyramid complex of Saqqara, presents a striking juxtaposition to the towering pyramids of earlier pharaohs. His pyramid, while impressive, is much smaller than the great monuments of the 4th dynasty, leading some scholars to speculate about the economic or political conditions of his reign. But it's not the size of the pyramid that raises the most questions. It's the unusual and haunting discoveries found inside the tomb, especially the royal burial chamber. The tomb itself is a maze of passages and chambers, some of which show signs of damage. Yet the real mystery lies within the burial chamber, where Teti's sarcophagus once lay, now empty. Archaeologists had expected to find the mummified remains of the pharaoh. What better final resting place for a king? However, instead of a perfectly preserved body, they were met with an unsettling silence. Teti's body was gone. The sarcophagus was found open and unoccupied, and no trace of the remains was found in the tomb. For a burial site of such significance, this omission is baffling. What could explain this? Some mainstream scholars believe that the tomb was raided in antiquity, during a time when the tombs of pharaohs were often looted by grave robbers seeking to take precious goods, jewelry, and other treasures. Yet this theory does not explain the absence of the body. Surely, Teti's remains, considered the most important part of the pharaoh's journey into the afterlife, would have been among the treasures buried with him. There are other strange details surrounding the tomb that only deepen the mystery. The tomb's inscriptions, for example, appear to tell a tale of a pharaoh who was not only revered but also feared. Some hieroglyphs suggest that Teti's reign was marked by political turmoil, and evidence of tension among the royal court hints at the possibility of betrayal. One of the more unsettling aspects is the curse that is said to have been placed upon anyone who would dare disturb Teti's final resting place. Could it be that Teti's burial was the result of a plot, one perhaps orchestrated by those within his inner circle? Some theories propose that Teti's death wasn't natural, that it was the result of an assassination carried out by those who wanted to seize power. Ancient Egyptian records mention that Teti's reign ended abruptly, with speculation pointing to palace intrigue and a possible coup. Did the tomb's defilement represent an act of revenge against a ruler whose enemies sought to erase his memory even in death? Another intriguing hypothesis suggests that the missing body of Teti might be the result of a more deliberate, ritualistic choice. Perhaps the pharaoh's body was purposely removed, either by his own command or due to his personal wishes for a different form of burial. Could there be a spiritual or religious reason behind the absence of his remains? In ancient Egypt, the process of burial was deeply connected to the concept of the Ka, the soul, and the afterlife. It's possible that Teti's body was transported to another location, perhaps hidden in a more secretive place, to protect it from the ravages of time, or to maintain its sanctity and prevent defilement by would-be looters. Could it be that the burial of Teti is part of an even greater mystery, one that suggests a deliberate displacement of the body to safeguard it from desecration? Adding to the intrigue, the tomb of Teti shows signs of having been sealed hastily after its completion. Some archaeologists believe that the tomb was constructed in great haste due to political instability or other external pressures. But if Teti's tomb was meant to be a grand final resting place for the pharaoh, why the rush? Was this hasty construction a reflection of the instability within Egypt at the time? And why was the tomb so poorly preserved compared to other royal tombs? The absence of Teti's body is not just a curiosity. It is a glaring gap in the historical record. The mystery surrounding his burial, coupled with the fragmented and often contradictory evidence surrounding his death, has led to much speculation. Could Teti's disappearance represent something more than a simple grave robbery or political upheaval? Could it be that he was part of a greater conspiracy, a story of betrayal, power struggles, and ancient rituals we are only beginning to understand? As time moves on and new evidence continues to surface, the burial of Pharaoh Teti remains one of the most perplexing mysteries of Egypt's ancient past. Was Teti's tomb desecrated by robbers? Or was it the result of something far more complex, something rooted in the very fabric of ancient Egyptian politics and religion? The search for answers is ongoing, but for now, the tomb of Teti remains a silent sentinel to the unanswered questions of Egypt's distant past. Perhaps the greatest mystery of all lies in the question: what remains hidden, not just within the tomb itself, but in the history surrounding it? Nestled on the Giza Plateau, amid the towering silhouettes of Egypt's most iconic structures, stands the Great Sphinx, a monumental enigma carved from the bedrock of the desert, with the body of a lion and the face of a pharaoh. Though it has captivated the world for centuries, there remains a lesser-known mystery beneath the sands: the hidden Sphinx temple. As visitors gaze upon the Sphinx, their attention is often drawn to its sheer size and imposing presence. But few know that beneath this immense stone creature lies something even more elusive: a temple complex that has intrigued archaeologists and historians for years. The Sphinx temple is nestled directly in front of the Sphinx, but much of its true nature remains obscured by time, erosion, and layers of sand. Excavations have revealed that this temple, constructed from large blocks of limestone, once served as a place of worship, possibly dedicated to the solar deity Ra, or the Sphinx itself as an embodiment of divine power. It appears to have been part of a grand ritual complex meant to honor the gods in the most sacred of ways. Yet, despite the significant discoveries, much about the temple remains shrouded in mystery. The most intriguing aspect of the hidden Sphinx temple is its unusual architecture. Unlike other temples from the period, it seems to lack the traditional inscriptions and reliefs that typically adorn such structures. There are no grand depictions of pharaohs performing rituals or engaging with the gods, elements commonly found in Egyptian temples. Instead, what remains is a solemn, almost cryptic space, suggesting that its purpose was not entirely conventional, or perhaps known only to a select few. Could this lack of visual storytelling be a deliberate attempt to conceal its true purpose? Some theorists believe that the temple was part of a ritualistic secret, reserved for only the highest priests or the pharaoh himself. What was it that needed to be hidden from the common people? Was this temple a place of powerful rites, tied to ancient mysteries lost to time? Or was it simply a sanctuary built for more mundane purposes? As archaeologists continue to study the area, a strange anomaly has surfaced: water damage. The walls of the temple show signs of erosion that suggest prolonged exposure to water, an odd finding in the heart of a desert. Some scholars point out that this could be the result of flooding during ancient times, while others wonder whether the watermarks could be symbolic. The idea that water might have played a role in the temple's rituals ties into broader questions about the symbolic importance of water in Egyptian thought. Was this temple built to be submerged, to represent the divine coming from the waters of creation? Or perhaps to invoke the Nile's eternal power? Moreover, the placement of the Sphinx itself raises additional questions. Why was this enigmatic figure, half lion, half man, constructed directly in front of the temple? Was it meant to protect it? Or perhaps the Sphinx itself was the physical embodiment of a cosmic force that resided within the temple. Some believe that the Sphinx was aligned in a specific way to track celestial events, such as the rising of stars or the movement of the sun across the sky. Could the temple's purpose have been to align with these cosmic forces, using the Sphinx as a marker for divine power and knowledge? Then there is the matter of the hidden chambers beneath the Sphinx. Beneath the creature's paws, there are passages that some believe may lead to undiscovered rooms, possibly connected to the temple below. In the 1990s, a robotic probe was sent into a small opening in the Sphinx's rear, but the findings were inconclusive. The temple and Sphinx complex could still hide undiscovered chambers, places that might hold objects or texts of great significance lost to the ages. Could the Sphinx temple be hiding something more than just sacred space? Could it conceal forgotten texts of knowledge, perhaps lost to time but containing truths about Egypt's most ancient past? Some fringe theories even suggest that the hidden Sphinx temple could have connections to other mysteries, such as the Anunnaki or even lost civilizations far older than ancient Egypt. Is it possible that the temple, with its unconventional design and secretive nature, was not only Egyptian but something else entirely? Something linked to an older age, long erased from historical memory? Could the Sphinx have been constructed by a lost civilization with advanced knowledge far ahead of its time? As intriguing as these theories are, there is no solid evidence to support such claims. What is clear is that the hidden Sphinx temple, as part of the Giza Plateau, plays an integral role in the larger mystery of the Great Sphinx itself. For all its grandeur, the Sphinx is but one piece of an enigmatic puzzle that remains incompletely solved. Perhaps the greatest question of all is not what was inside the temple, but why it was hidden in the first place. The idea of secrets deliberately obscured from the public eye is something that runs deep in the mythology and history of Egypt. What could have been so important, so sacred, that it required the utmost secrecy? Was the hidden Sphinx temple a center of ritual and power, or was it a place of knowledge, one that has been buried by time and perhaps deliberately erased from memory? As the sands continue to shift and the excavations deepen, the answers may yet reveal themselves. But for now, the hidden Sphinx temple remains an open door into Egypt's distant past, its secrets waiting to be uncovered. Standing in the midst of the Giza Plateau, the pyramids of Egypt have long been a subject of awe and wonder. The Great Pyramid, in particular, draws the most attention with its precise geometry, its towering presence, and its perfect alignment with the stars. Its construction, as astounding as it is, seems to defy the technological capabilities of the time. But beyond its sheer magnificence, there is an even greater mystery that has puzzled researchers for centuries: the pyramid's unknown energy source. As the sun rises over the plateau, the shadows of the pyramids stretch long across the desert floor. The Great Pyramid, with its sheer volume of stone blocks, stands at the center, an imposing monument to ancient engineering. Yet, as we examine the structure, we notice something peculiar. Despite its vast size, there is no apparent energy source that could have powered the massive labor force required to build it. Even more perplexing, the pyramid seems to exhibit characteristics that suggest it was not just a tomb or monument, but a vessel for something far more complex: energy. The first clue comes from the structure itself. When the Great Pyramid was originally built, its outer casing of smooth, polished limestone would have reflected the sunlight, making it glow like a beacon in the desert. It is believed that ancient Egyptians understood the energetic properties of stone, using materials that might have had specific resonant frequencies or even electromagnetic properties. But the most intriguing feature is the alignment of the pyramid. Not only is it aligned with incredible precision to the cardinal points of the compass, but it also mirrors the constellations in the night sky, specifically the star Al-Nitak in the constellation of Orion. This alignment suggests that the builders were not simply concerned with astrological significance, but with creating a structure that might channel or harness cosmic energy. Throughout history, many have wondered, could the pyramids have been designed as something more than just tombs for the pharaohs? Could they have served a more practical purpose, one that involved manipulating or harnessing energy from the earth or the cosmos? It's a theory that has gained traction in recent decades, as some scientists and researchers point to the idea that the pyramids were not just static structures, but dynamic, energy-harnessing devices. One hypothesis suggests that the pyramid's shape itself might have been designed to act as a resonant frequency generator, amplifying the Earth's natural electromagnetic fields. The large stones, carefully chosen for their density and mineral composition, could have been part of a complex system that captured and focused energy from the Earth's magnetic field. This theory proposes that the pyramid acted as a giant electromagnetic accumulator, gathering and storing energy from natural forces. The internal chambers, particularly the King's Chamber, have been at the center of this speculation. Researchers have noted unusual concentrations of certain minerals in the chambers, which could have been used to amplify electrical or electromagnetic signals. But where would this energy have gone? Some suggest that it was used to power the ancient civilization, perhaps fueling the construction of the pyramids themselves, or even offering some form of energy-based technology that has been lost to time. This raises more questions than answers. How advanced were the ancient Egyptians in their understanding of energy and electricity? Could they have had access to a form of technology that we can't even comprehend today? Then there is the matter of the water erosion marks found in the Great Pyramid's underground chambers. Some researchers have pointed out that there are signs of water damage, erosion that could have been caused by a form of energetic discharge, as if the pyramid had once been exposed to extreme energy levels. If the pyramid was designed to harness energy, could it have experienced a catastrophic failure at some point in history, leading to the erosion of its internal structures? Others take this even further, speculating that the pyramids could have been used to transmit energy across vast distances, possibly acting as a kind of ancient power grid. Could the Egyptians have created a system of pyramids that interacted with each other, creating an electromagnetic web of energy across the entire region? Some fringe theorists even suggest that the pyramids were built as part of an advanced global network, one that might have been capable of channeling cosmic or solar energy to power cities, temples, or other structures. For those who subscribe to these more speculative theories, the pyramids are not just tombs for the pharaohs, they are monuments to an ancient knowledge, an understanding of energy that we have yet to rediscover. Some believe that the true purpose of the pyramids was to tap into a source of power so advanced, so far beyond our current understanding, that it has been lost to history. Could the ancient Egyptians have been the first to harness the power of the earth and the cosmos in ways that modern science is only beginning to explore? But these ideas remain unproven, and as much as we may speculate, there are still no definitive answers. The true function of the pyramids, and their potential as an energy source, remains one of the most elusive mysteries of the ancient world. Despite the many attempts to uncover their secrets, the question persists: what exactly were the pyramids built to do? What energy did they harness? And what, if anything, remains hidden within their walls? Perhaps the pyramids are more than just monuments to a long-lost civilization. Perhaps they are symbols of an advanced knowledge, one that the ancient Egyptians understood and used in ways we are only beginning to comprehend. Or perhaps they are ancient beacons waiting to reveal their secrets when the time is right. For now, we can only wonder, could the pyramids hold the key to unlocking an ancient source of energy that might change the world as we know it? Or is the mystery of the pyramids a riddle that will remain unsolved, buried in the sands of time? In the heart of Egypt's ancient history, nestled among the tombs of kings and queens, there lies a mystery that continues to captivate archaeologists and historians alike: the disappearance of the royal mummy cache. This cache, once a hidden repository of Egypt's most revered pharaohs, vanished unexpectedly, leaving behind a trail of intrigue and unanswered questions. The story begins in 1871, when a team of explorers and archaeologists, led by the French Egyptologist Auguste Mariette, discovered the tomb of a group of mummies that had been secreted away deep within the cliffs of Deir el-Bahari, a site on the west bank of the Nile near the Valley of the Kings. The tomb, or what would become known as the Royal Mummy Cache, contained the mummified remains of 40 kings and queens from Egypt's New Kingdom period, spanning several dynasties. These were not just any mummies. These were the royal ancestors of Egypt, including Ramses II, the great pharaoh, and Seti I, another powerful ruler of ancient Egypt. The mummies had been moved from their original tombs by priests in antiquity, some believe around the 21st dynasty, to protect them from grave robbers, a threat that had loomed over Egypt's royal tombs for centuries. They were hidden in this secretive location to preserve their sanctity and to keep them safe from theft. In a sense, these mummies were placed in a form of cryptic sanctuary where they could rest in peace away from the world. However, this seemingly safe haven would not be immune to the forces of time and human curiosity. The tomb, although well concealed, was discovered by Mariette's team, and the mummies were meticulously catalogued and examined. The significance of the cache was undeniable, for it contained the very souls of Egypt's ancient kings, including many from the 18th, 19th, and 20th dynasties. And yet, despite this monumental find, there was an aspect of the discovery that remained troubling. How had these mummies come to be placed here in the first place? And why did they disappear so soon after their discovery? As Mariette's team carefully examined the royal mummies, it became evident that many of them had been hastily rewrapped, some with makeshift bandages and others in fragments of linen. This suggested that the mummies had been removed from their original tombs in a hurry. What could have prompted such a sudden and secretive relocation of Egypt's most sacred remains? Had there been a dire need to hide them from view? Some scholars speculate that the mummies were moved during a period of political unrest, perhaps to avoid desecration by thieves, or even by political factions vying for power in the centuries following the collapse of the New Kingdom. Yet, the mystery deepens. Though these mummies were discovered in 1871, the royal mummy cache was almost immediately sealed again, as if it were never meant to be known by the outside world. In the years following the discovery, reports emerged of strange occurrences surrounding the mummies. Stories circulated of unexplainable disturbances and sudden disappearances of artifacts. The mummies themselves, after being catalogued and examined, seemed to have vanished. Not all of them, but a significant number. Several of the mummies were removed from the cache and later relocated to the Egyptian Museum in Cairo. However, some of the most prominent figures, including the mummies of Ramses II and Seti I, were mysteriously lost in the years following their examination. How could such a discovery of monumental historical importance simply slip away from the public eye? Did these mummies fall victim to the changing tides of Egyptian history as dynasties rose and fell? Or was there something more to this story, something deliberately hidden from view? Some suggest that the mummies may have been removed for reasons of national security, especially given Egypt's vulnerable position during the 19th century, when tombs were regularly plundered by outsiders. Others believe that some mummies were taken abroad for study, with their final destinations shrouded in secrecy. A particularly curious aspect of this mystery is the theory that the mummies were somehow linked to ancient knowledge that was too sacred or dangerous to be left in the hands of modern Egyptologists. Could there have been a belief among certain factions that these mummies possessed more than just spiritual power? Perhaps, even, could they have held the keys to ancient technological secrets, or even mystical powers that were feared to be too potent for modern hands? Further adding to the mystery, some modern-day explorers have gone so far as to suggest that the disappearance of the mummies was the result of deliberate action, possibly by organizations or individuals with specific interests in keeping certain pieces of Egypt's history out of the public eye. Were these mummies removed to ensure that certain secrets would remain buried, or did they simply fall victim to the chaos of the time? Despite extensive searches in the 20th and 21st centuries, many of the royal mummies from the cache remain lost. The tomb itself still stands at Deir el-Bahari, but the mummies have never been fully recovered. Occasionally, rumors arise of mysterious mummies being found in obscure corners of Egypt, only to be claimed by government officials before any details can be revealed. These rumors fuel the ongoing fascination with the cache's disappearance. It's a haunting thought. Could these mummies hold something that we are still not meant to know? Was there something within them, perhaps an object, a document, or even a message that was hidden for a reason we have yet to understand? As time passes and new discoveries are made, the enigma of the royal mummy cache remains a tragic puzzle. Perhaps it is a mystery that will never be fully solved, with the mummies remaining, like so many ancient secrets, buried beneath the sands of time. Or perhaps one day, the pieces of this puzzle will fall into place, revealing the true story behind the disappearance of Egypt's royal ancestors and what their final resting place might still hold. In the vast, endless expanse of Egypt's ancient desert lies a mystery that has evaded historians and archaeologists for centuries: the tomb of a lost pharaoh. Unlike the grand monuments of the New Kingdom, such as the tombs of Ramses II or Tutankhamun, this tomb remains elusive, its existence questioned by some and suspected by others. Yet, within the ruins of Egypt's past, there are whispers, ancient records, hidden clues, and long-lost artifacts that suggest the burial site of a forgotten ruler waits to be uncovered. The search for this lost tomb began over 100 years ago, but the clues are sparse and often contradictory. Theories abound about the identity of the pharaoh whose tomb is still hiding in the sands, lost to time and history. Some suggest that it belonged to a ruler whose name was deliberately erased from history, perhaps someone whose reign ended in shame or scandal. Others believe it is the tomb of an unknown king, a minor pharaoh whose significance was lost when the focus shifted to the great rulers of Egypt. Among the first to propose the existence of this tomb was the famed archaeologist Howard Carter, the same man who would go on to discover the tomb of Tutankhamun in 1922. During his excavations in the Valley of the Kings, Carter came across fragments of broken statues and tomb reliefs that seemed to point to a previously unknown king. However, Carter's search for this mysterious tomb was abruptly halted by the discovery of Tutankhamun's tomb, a find that would eclipse all others for its wealth and historical significance. Yet Carter's initial musings about the lost pharaoh remained a haunting suggestion, lingering just beneath the surface of Egyptology. As the decades passed, the search for the tomb continued, though it shifted from the Valley of the Kings to other areas of Egypt, including the Valley of the Queens and even the more remote deserts beyond. Yet, there was no trace of the lost king. No inscriptions, no monuments, nothing to confirm the existence of this enigmatic ruler's final resting place. But the intrigue surrounding the lost pharaoh's tomb didn't end with Carter's unfinished search. Other archaeologists and researchers have revisited the idea in recent years, particularly after the discovery of the tombs of lesser-known pharaohs in the Valley of the Kings. These discoveries, though impressive, have added fuel to the fire of speculation. What if there were more tombs buried beneath the sand, waiting to be uncovered? What if the tomb of this particular pharaoh has simply eluded detection for centuries? One of the most puzzling aspects of the mystery lies in the complete absence of historical documentation about this ruler. No royal cartouche, no record of his deeds or his burial, no mention of his name in the annals of Egypt's long and storied history. Some scholars have proposed that the pharaoh may have been deliberately erased from history, his reign possibly discredited by rivals or enemies who sought to obscure his legacy. The ancient Egyptians, after all, were known to damn certain kings, erasing their names from monuments and tombs. Could this forgotten ruler have been one such king, lost to history through deliberate actions? Other theories delve into more speculative territory. Some believe that the lost pharaoh might have been a ruler from a mysterious dynasty, one whose existence is known only through shadowy references in texts, but whose lineage remains obscured by time. These theories point to the fact that not all pharaohs were recorded in the grand historical records. Some may have ruled in obscurity or in troubled times, their achievements overshadowed by the more prominent figures of Egypt's history. Could this lost ruler have fallen into this forgotten category? Even more fantastical ideas have surfaced. Some have speculated that the tomb of the lost pharaoh could hold knowledge, perhaps writings or artifacts that reveal information about Egypt's distant past or offer clues about lost technologies. There are those who propose that the tomb's secret might even be related to the Ankh, the symbol of eternal life, or that it may contain mystical artifacts of unknown power. Could there have been something hidden within this tomb that might explain the ancient Egyptians' remarkable achievements in architecture, medicine, and mathematics? Of course, these ideas are largely speculative, based on conjecture rather than solid evidence. However, the lack of concrete information about the tomb and its occupant allows for a range of interpretations. The tomb itself, if it exists, is believed to be hidden in one of Egypt's many remote desert valleys. Perhaps it lies beneath the sands of the western desert, beyond the known tombs of the pharaohs. Or maybe it's concealed deep within the Valley of the Kings, buried beneath centuries of sand and stone. Despite the many efforts to locate it, the tomb remains elusive, and as each year passes, the question looms larger. Was this king truly forgotten, or did someone go to great lengths to erase him from memory? Could the tomb of this mysterious pharaoh be hiding just beneath our feet, waiting to reveal its secrets? As the search continues, the mystery of the lost pharaoh's tomb endures. The ancient tombs of Egypt continue to yield their secrets, but some of the most profound mysteries remain hidden, locked away by time and sand. Perhaps the tomb of the lost pharaoh is simply waiting for the right moment or the right person to uncover its secrets. Hidden beneath the sands of Egypt, forgotten by time, lies a mystery that has captivated historians and archaeologists for centuries: the lost temple of Queen Cleopatra VII, the last ruler of the Ptolemaic kingdom. The beauty and intelligence of Cleopatra have become legend, but her final years, her death, and the aftermath of her reign remain shrouded in uncertainty. Yet there is one enigma that haunts her legacy more than any other: the location of her royal temple, a monumental site that may still lie hidden beneath the earth. Cleopatra is known for her political acumen, her legendary love affairs with Julius Caesar and Mark Antony, and her dramatic death by snakebite. But what of the grand structures she might have built in her own name? What of the temples, the monuments, the buildings dedicated to the goddess Isis, who she claimed as a divine ancestor? Ancient sources suggest that Cleopatra ordered the construction of a grand temple dedicated to this goddess. But despite extensive exploration of Alexandria and the surrounding areas, the precise location of the temple remains elusive. Some scholars believe that Cleopatra's temple may have been located somewhere near the Canopic branch of the Nile, where the ancient city of Alexandria once stood. Alexandria, a hub of culture, commerce, and intellectual pursuit, was also a city of immense architectural grandeur. The great Pharos lighthouse, one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world, once stood here, as did the famed Library of Alexandria, places that promised to preserve the knowledge of the world for all eternity. Could Cleopatra's temple have shared a similar grandeur? In fact, there are conflicting reports of the temple's existence. While some ancient texts mention it directly, describing it as an imposing structure at the edge of Alexandria's royal quarter, others suggest it was part of a complex in Taposiris Magna, a site not far from Alexandria. Taposiris Magna, an ancient city that is rich in history, is an intriguing candidate. It is located on the western edge of Alexandria, where the desert sands meet the cultivated land of Egypt. Here, a series of enigmatic monuments and burial sites have been uncovered, with evidence suggesting that Cleopatra may have once visited this area in the final years of her reign. Despite tantalizing clues, no physical evidence of Cleopatra's temple has been definitively found. And yet, in the early 2000s, excavations at Taposiris Magna led to the discovery of several intriguing objects that seemed to point to a royal connection. A series of stone carvings with the names of Cleopatra and Mark Antony appeared, sparking renewed interest in the site. The discovery of a mysterious tomb in the area only deepened the intrigue. Could this be Cleopatra's final resting place? Or was it simply a burial site of a lesser-known royal figure? At Taposiris Magna, there are also a number of cryptic statues, some with inscriptions that hint at a connection to the goddess Isis, symbols that Cleopatra would have certainly revered, given her divine ancestry. One particular artifact, a golden coin bearing the likeness of both Cleopatra and Antony, was unearthed near the site, further suggesting that this area held significance for the late queen. But the mystery deepens when we consider the possibility of another, even more dramatic location: the submerged ruins off the coast of Alexandria. In 2000, a team of underwater archaeologists discovered what appeared to be large stone blocks beneath the waters of the Mediterranean Sea, not far from the ancient coastline. These submerged ruins raised questions. Could these be the remnants of Cleopatra's grand temple? The temple was thought to have been located near Alexandria's royal district, and some suggest that the site may have been damaged or even destroyed by an earthquake, leading to its eventual submergence beneath the waves. The blocks recovered from the sea were clearly ancient, but their purpose, whether part of Cleopatra's temple or some other structure, remains uncertain. Adding to the enigma, some researchers have proposed that the temple's disappearance was not due to natural disasters or looting, but to intentional erasure. Given Cleopatra's political alliances, which included both the Roman Empire and Egypt's priesthood, it is possible that her temple was deliberately erased after her death. With the rise of Augustus, the future Emperor Octavian, and the eventual Roman annexation of Egypt, could the temple have been destroyed, its memory erased as part of the Roman conquest? Other theories suggest that the lost temple might be buried under the layers of modern Alexandria, which has expanded considerably since Cleopatra's time. Over the centuries, buildings, roads, and even the expansion of the modern harbor have buried much of the ancient city. Could the temple still lie under the bustling streets of the city, just waiting to be rediscovered? But what if the mystery of Cleopatra's temple lies not in destruction or concealment, but in something even more mysterious? Could it be that the temple is designed in such a way that its discovery is meant to be elusive, revealing itself only to those with the right knowledge? Was it constructed with the use of unknown techniques or materials that would allow it to blend into the landscape, deliberately camouflaged to avoid detection? The search for the lost temple of Cleopatra continues. With each excavation, new fragments of history emerge, but the full scope of Cleopatra's architectural legacy remains a tantalizing puzzle. As we look to the sands of Egypt, both above and below ground, one question remains. Could the lost temple, with its secrets of a powerful queen, still be waiting to be found? It is a mystery, like many in Egypt's long history, that may never be fully solved. And yet, the search itself continues to captivate the imagination, inviting us to wonder what might still be hidden in the forgotten corners of Alexandria's ancient world. In the heart of Egypt's ancient necropolis at Saqqara, one structure towers above the rest, an imposing, jagged monument to the passage of time. This is the Step Pyramid of Djoser, one of the oldest and most mysterious architectural feats in the history of Egypt. Rising 204 feet above the surrounding desert, the Step Pyramid is the first pyramid ever built, its six-tiered design marking a significant departure from the previous mastaba tombs that characterized early Egyptian burial practices. Yet, despite its status as an engineering marvel, the pyramid is, in a sense, incomplete. A monument whose purpose remains clouded in uncertainty, and whose unfinished nature leaves behind an enduring enigma. The Step Pyramid was commissioned by Pharaoh Djoser, a ruler of the Third Dynasty during the Old Kingdom. Architecturally, it represents a bold leap forward from the rudimentary tombs of earlier pharaohs. Initially envisioned as a flat-roofed structure, a mastaba, Djoser's chief architect, Imhotep, innovatively transformed this simple design into the first stepped pyramid, a precursor to the iconic smooth-sided pyramids that would follow, such as the Great Pyramid of Giza. But despite its monumental size and grandeur, something peculiar stands out about the Step Pyramid. It is unfinished, and there are significant gaps in its design and construction. Though its 6 tiers were eventually completed, an 8th tier was planned but never added. Was it the result of an unforeseen setback or a deliberate decision? And why was the pyramid left in its current, unfinished state, especially given its monumental significance? The mystery surrounding the Step Pyramid begins with its construction timeline. Imhotep, the architect, was a visionary who revolutionized ancient Egyptian architecture. But the grand scale of the pyramid's design posed challenges that would push the limits of even his brilliance. The Step Pyramid was built in a series of stages, with each layer being stacked on top of the previous one. Yet records are unclear as to whether the pyramid was completed during Djoser's reign, or if the unfinished sections were left for a successor to complete. More intriguing still are the unfinished chambers within the pyramid complex. The burial chamber of Pharaoh Djoser, the pyramid's central feature, has not been fully explored. Some archaeologists suggest that it was intentionally left unfinished as a protective measure. Given the treasures associated with royal burials and the potential for grave robbers, did Imhotep leave certain elements of the pyramid incomplete as a security measure to deter tomb robbers, or was there something more mysterious at play? Adding to the intrigue, a mysterious limestone slab buried within the pyramid's enclosure bears an inscription that some believe hints at an unfinished portion of the king's burial. The slab references the king's final resting place, yet it has never been found within the pyramid itself. Was it moved, or was it meant to be placed in the now incomplete burial chamber? While the pyramid is known for its monumental structure, the underground passages within the pyramid complex are equally enigmatic. The labyrinth of corridors, chambers, and shafts beneath the pyramid raises questions about the symbolic or ritualistic role these spaces might have played. Some scholars speculate that they were intended for ceremonial purposes or to protect the tomb from desecration, but the true nature of these tunnels remains unclear. A striking feature of the complex is the use of the serdab, an ancient chamber designed to house a statue of the king. Within this small room, a statue of Pharaoh Djoser once stood, staring out through small holes that allowed his spirit to see the outside world. But why was such a feature included, and why was it sealed off in such an elaborate way? Even more mysterious are the hidden vaults found deep within the pyramid complex, which were sealed and largely untouched until recent excavations. One theory suggests that these vaults could have been intended to house objects of immense religious or symbolic importance, perhaps related to the king's journey into the afterlife. However, despite extensive exploration of the pyramid and its surrounding area, these vaults remain largely unexplored. Were they abandoned midway through their construction? Or did they serve a more ritualistic function that was never fully realized? Some fringe theories suggest that the unfinished nature of the step pyramid reflects an esoteric or mystical tradition, one that goes beyond mere architectural imperfection. Could the unfinished pyramid symbolize the impermanence of life and the inevitable decay of even the greatest works of mankind? Is there an underlying metaphysical reason why it was never completed, perhaps reflecting ancient Egyptian beliefs about the fleeting nature of earthly power? Or could it represent something more profound, such as an unknown cosmic alignment or celestial event? The lack of clear historical records regarding the pyramid's intended completion leaves room for speculation. Some argue that Djoser's successors may have abandoned the project in favor of other monumental endeavors, while others claim that external forces, such as resource shortages, political upheaval, or even environmental changes, may have halted construction. The mystery of the unfinished step pyramid remains unresolved, not only because of the gaps in historical records, but because it represents a pivotal moment in Egypt's architectural evolution. It's as though the pyramid, standing tall amid the Saqqara Desert, is a symbol of both the triumph and limitations of the ancient Egyptians. Perhaps the final piece of the puzzle lies buried beneath the sands of time, waiting for future archaeologists to uncover what was once lost or left hidden intentionally. For now, the step pyramid stands as a testament to Egypt's architectural ambition, but also as a reminder of the many unsolved mysteries that continue to shape our understanding of the ancient world. What was meant to be completed remains incomplete, and the unanswered questions linger. What secrets might still lie hidden in the shadows of the step pyramid, waiting to be revealed?